Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I think some of you have already joined us in our Ask Me Any Stock session. If you guys can see and hear me loud and clear, you can see the entire screen as well. This type of GF, good morning. Let me know if this is working, guys, before we get started to today's Singapore Ask Me Any Stock session. Let me just acknowledge those of you who are early today. Okay, good morning. Very first comment today, we have Andy. Hi, Andy. Good to see you here. I think he joins almost every Friday. Hi, Yaktri as well. Good to see you here as well. Brandon, Manfred. Hi. A lot of familiar names. Hi, Jason, Stephen, Simon, Agnes, Lawrence, John. Hi, David as well. All right, June. Awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. So you have been following us for a while. Well, you can see that we have been doing this just to add value to you guys, to some of our clients over here, to the public, to people who are just scrolling through YouTube and Facebook as well. Basically, just to share our knowledge on the stock market. We've been doing it for more than a year now, since like beginning of 2025. All right, and that's where pretty much we go through the stocks that you guys ask about. And every week we alternate between the Singapore and the US market. So last Friday was US, right? So today is back to Singapore market. So if you are looking at the Singapore stock market, right? Not Bitcoin, not US, not Apple, right? But Singapore stock market, right? DBS, yeah, correct, right? Singapore stocks. You are in the right place, right? So welcome. Let's get started. A lot of familiar names over here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being early. Help us would it be okay, guys, that before we even get started, right? Help me to like and share. Help me to like and share. Give us some heart-shape, some love. I think that will definitely help out the algorithm to reach out to a bit more people as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help to do that, right? And of course, I think at the top there should be a bell icon if you have not yet subscribed, right, to our channel, or if you have not followed us on Facebook as well, right? Hit the subscribe, hit the follow button so that when we go live in the future, you will be alerted. Thank you so much for all the heart shapes. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get started. Today, Ask Me Any Stock Singapore edition. All right, what happens is this, right? We'll do a quick market outlook. All right, what has happened to the markets? We look at the Singapore STI, right? Straits Times Index that's been doing pretty well, I would say. I mean, compared to the US that's been selling down, Singapore has been really resilient, not really selling down. In fact, attempting to push even higher. All right, so we look at the Singapore market, and then of course we will cover the Singapore stocks that you guys want a quick opinion on. So very simple. Later when you give us your stocks, it'll be good if you can give us a bit of context. All right, give us a bit of not just like one name, but a bit of context, like what do you want to know about that stock? What price do you buy? You bought last year, last month, you want to sell, you want to do nothing, you want to buy some more. All right, give us a bit of context so that when we go ahead to analyze your stocks, it'll be a little bit more personalized. Does it make sense, man? All right. Okay. So very good. And of course, at the end of this AMAS session, that's where me and my team, three of us over here, each of us will share one bonus Singapore stock at the end. All right. So make sure you stay all the way to the end. All right, to find out what is the bonus stock that we like that you could potentially put in your watch list for maybe even more upside. Of course, we are seeing some really good bullish signals from my indicator as well. I call it the One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? So make sure you stay all the way to the end. In case some of the stocks that you ask, right, and you can see that you ask, and then we purposely do not choose that stock. Well, it could be a possibility that that stock might be a bonus stock, right? So we will not go and choose it, because we'll be covering it at the end, right? So yours could actually be the bonus stock, right? If it's a strong one. All right, Ken? So let's get started. And let me just go to introduce myself in case you have not met before. My name is Joey, like Joey Choy, top tier Remisier trader in Philip Securities. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now, pretty much focusing on stocks. Singapore stocks, US stocks, Hong Kong stocks, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. All right, so if you are looking at stocks, yeah, I'm pretty much the guy to look for. All right, and I use what I call the One Good Trend strategy. All right, so this One Good Trend strategy pretty much forms the framework, the playbook for all my trades, whether to get in, to get out. And that's pretty much what we'll be using today to analyze your stocks. And based on this One Good Trend strategy, I also have what we call the One Good Trend Pro indicator, all right, whereby later we can turn it on even for the stocks, even for the market, and it gives me and my team and many of my graduates as well, right, a quick opinion on any stocks in seconds. All right, so that's what we'll do. Right, so that's me. Right, that's me. I'm pretty much focusing on stock market. And let me just go to introduce my team as well, who is joining me today. We have two team members. We have a Z. Right, Z, one of the top brokers under me in Philip Securities. All right, joining me for more than 5 years now. Running our group coaching sessions with our graduates, our one-on-one calls with our mentees, and even assisting our team's portfolio manager with a 7-figure portfolio management business. Right, and Z is a chartered market technician, in short, CMT. Basically, she's an expert in anything to do with charts. Right, candlestick patterns, price action, whatever. Right. Sometimes I do consult her as well on that. All right, so maybe let me pass on the mic to Z just to share a little bit on herself. All right, and maybe how she could add more value to you guys today. Right, Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Hi, everyone. My name is Z. For those who have not met me, hi. So thanks, Joey, for the introduction. So for those who are new here, like what Joey mentioned, I'm a big fan of charts and trends, right? Just like looking at charts and especially beautiful charts, lah. Okay, so later on, hopefully you are able to spot some beautiful charts along the way when we actually go through some of your stocks that you guys have requested over here. And my philosophy is actually quite simple, right? I don't like to overcomplicate things. I don't like that the chart has too many things and it's like extremely overwhelming, right? So I like to break things down as simple as possible. And especially with the 1GT Pro indicator, with just a click of a button, just within seconds, right? You can actually see things like, the signals, the trailing support and resistance, which can help you to make your decisions like when it comes to whether you want to take the trade or not, right? So, and I hope that, within the next 1.5 hours, we will try to cover as many Singapore stocks as possible, right? And I think without further ado, right, I'll pass the time back over to Joey so that he can introduce Jia as well.
All right, thank you so much, Z. So today we have Jia joining us as well. Jia, one of the top brokers under me in Philip Securities, right, serving thousands of clients, giving value, advising them on their stocks. And Jia, I would say, has a special interest in what we call candlestick. All right, very strong specialization in that field. All right, he's able to read the price action of any stock, any chart. And sometimes I do consult him on that as well. Right, so Jia, maybe you can just share a little bit on your expertise or what you've been working on. Go ahead.
All right, sure. Hi, thanks, Joey. So hi everyone, welcome to today's AMAS. So I think some of you guys might already know me, or if you don't know me, I've been assisting Joey with the operation and also client servicing and also trade execution since 2023. So it has been like over past 2 to 3 years. I've actually learned a lot. Looking at candlesticks, looking at chart over the few years. Also, I built meaningful connection as well, supporting the team and also our clients in every way lah. So I would say actually it's quite hard to believe that 1 month has already passed for 2026 since the new year, and also Chinese New Year is coming just around the corner. So in the market, 1 month may feel short, but it's actually long enough to see a lot of changes in terms of like price action, volatility, and also the sentiments in the market. So this is why AMS also help weekly, so that we stay connected and also checking regularly, sharpening our understanding of how the market is evolving. So I hope that this AMS will be also educational and also able to add value to you guys as well. And maybe through this AMS, you guys will be able to find some stocks, give you some opportunity to reflect on some of these ideas and how it can fit into your own portfolio and trading decision as well. Yep. So with that, I'll pass back my time to Joey.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Jia. All right. So there we go. Right. That's me, my team Z and Jia over here today. All right. Just to add more value to you guys. And let's get started. Right. So just a quick disclaimer, guys, as usual. Whatever that's being shared today, right, on your stocks or the bonus stock as well, even on the market, just for education purposes. All right. It's not really to ask you to buy or sell anything or to do anything at all. All right. We're just sharing with you guys our opinion, our analysis based on the one good trend framework, the tools that we're using, and you control your own decisions. Sounds good? All right. Okay, so let's just get started. So let me go into cover what we call the markets right now. All right, this type of M for markets. If you guys want me to cover maybe the markets, maybe on the Singapore Straits Times Index, type of M for market. I think a lot more of you have joined us right today. Type M for market, guys. If you want me to cover the market, all right. Let me see. We have M Ray, all right. Thank you so much, David. M Jude as well. Market, Brandon. Market. Okay, let's just go ahead to do the markets, all right? So let's talk about the STI, the Singapore Straits Times Index, right? Why? Because today is the Singapore stock market, right? We're going through the Singapore stock. So let's go here to couple the STI right over here at 4,945. So I would say that, STI has been in a very, very strong rally since last year, since April, May last year after the down due to Trump imposing tariffs, right? Reciprocal tariffs on a dozen of countries. You can see we have sold off, but we have staged a very strong reversal. Not only that, reversed and we broke certain resistance, and the uptrend actually continued even more, right? From 3,006 to 4,000. After breaking the 4,000 in July, went to 4,002, 4,005, 4,006, and even 4,800 has broken over the past few weeks. So I would say the STI, to be honest, when you compare it with the US market or even the S&P 500 index, we have been doing really well. All right, much better than the US market. Of course, US market the past 1-2 weeks, we've been seeing selling, earnings result by some of the big tech firms, and then we were kind of, seeing a bit of consolidation. But Singapore, not just consolidating, but attempting to push higher. And I would say that that's what I've been mentioning, right, since last year, whereby one of the key reasons would be due to the MAS or the government kind of like taking actions to really boost the Singapore equities market, right? They introduced what we call the equity market development program, right, whereby the earmark like $5 billion of funds to put into Singapore equities. They have chosen about 9 fund managers, all right, and that's where I think it's like second tranche right now, about $3.9 billion out of this $5 billion is to be slowly deployed into Singapore equities, right? And that's where a lot of funds, a lot of liquidity is coming back to the market. A lot of not just the banks and the big caps, but also the small to mid caps companies are starting, but they have already seen strength since last year, and it's still ongoing because the government actually mentioned that they could do more, all right, to boost the Singapore equity market even more. There could be more actions that are still in consultation as well. All right, so that's what we're pretty much seeing in the Singapore market. Very strong. And this is the chart right over here. You can see that the long-term trend is up. All right, why? Well, very clearly, if you look at the 100 days moving average, this is the red line. It is pointing up. The blue line is the 200 days moving average. Same thing, it is pointing up. Right? In fact, it's been pointing up since last year, really pointing up. In case you think that it's last week or last month, no, it's quite long already, right? It's been pointing up since last year, right? The longer term trend is up. It has been up since 2 years back. It is still up. Does it make sense about? All right. Now, what about the short term trend? Well, the short term trend, we actually focus, based on the one good trend strategy, we actually focus on what we call the green 20 days moving average line, right? That gives us an idea on the short term trend, right? And you see the short term trend, how do we see it? Well, we look at the green line. If it's going down, not good. It's down, right? And that was what happened in April last year when we had tariffs being introduced by Trump, right? The green line went down for not 1 day or 2 days, but for about 2 weeks, all right? And what happens? We saw the reversal, the green line up, flat, up, flat, up. Is it still up? I would say that the green line, obviously, it is still up. Does it make sense, right? So the longer term trend and the short term trends are both aligned. They have been actually aligned since last year, August already, right? And both of them are still pointing up. So that's the reason why I have to say that, not just fundamentally in terms of all those measures that are being introduced, but technically from the chart, it just looks definitely more bullish since last year, May, June, July. All right. And it still looks bullish as we head further into 2026. And before the end of the year in 2025, just last month, all right, and before Christmas and all that, right? We did the AMAS as well. A lot of people were asking about the new year in 2026. And in 2025, December 2025, before Christmas, we were actually kind of still below the 4,800 level. We were right over here. I think we are somewhere over here, right? Below 4,008, maybe even near the 4,600, right? And I was expecting that, as we began the new year in 2026, we might see a bit of profit taking, might just consolidate a little bit, right? And then before we move up in maybe March or April, right? But no, right? The first week into the new year, January, first week, right? What happens? Boom, we broke the 4,700, right? 4,800 gave way as well. And you can see now we are near to 5,000. So there's a lot of, I would say, hidden strength in the market, all right? On any dips, people are coming to buy, right? Of course, later we look at some of the stocks as well that we have been covering since like last year. Some of the stocks that we've been sharing with our clients in Philip Securities as well by WhatsApp daily. All right, I assume some of you are clients of mine in Philip Securities, so you should be getting our daily updates and ideas, right? If not, later I'll share more on how to become a client to get these ideas daily by WhatsApp for free. All right, for free. Okay, but let's take a look at the STI first. I continue. Right, you can see that what we could do right now is that apart from the trend indicators, we could also turn on the bullish and bearish signals from my One Good Trend Pro indicator. So very quickly, as I say, we have these two that can help us. All right, in a matter of seconds, pam, gone, off, nothing, blank, blur. All right, don't know what to do. Turn it on. There we go. 2 seconds. What happens? All right, are we getting a bullish, bearish signals? All right, are we getting the confirmations that we need? All right, is there clarity? All right, are there confirmations that we have, right, to get in? Like for example, pump, we got a bullish signal. Same thing over here in May. April, we got a bullish signal, pop, 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 all the way up. Another bullish signal, pop, 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 all the way up. All right, of course, when we get a bearish signal, well, that means that we could see a bit of a profit taking, some selling coming back. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, but what happens after a new bullish signal comes back? There we go, all the way up. And this is where we are right now. And this bullish signal, came in November, in case you're wondering when, right? Not last week, not last month, not even in December, right? It's 6th of November, quite long already, right? 6th of November, right? It's even before December last year, right? And there we go, right? We started to push even higher, all right? And so you can see, this is where we got a 1GT bullish signals coming out, right? It has been bullish since November, started to push even higher. And I could quickly turn on what we call the trailing support right over here. And you can see that when this trailing support is turned on, now we have this line below the STI that actually follows the STI as it moves higher, right? But it doesn't follow too closely. You can see there's some space, right? There's some space given as we move higher, right? As it moves up, it follows it. As it moves up, it follows it. Does it make sense, right? And as long as we're above this trailing support line, I think it still looks bullish, right? That will be another confirmation that the market is still bullish. You see what I'm saying, about? Right, so not only the long-term trend is up, the short-term trend is up, we got bullish signal, plus we're above the trailing support. And these are some of the confirmations that we seek. Of course, there's some other confirmations which are a little bit more advanced stuff, right? But if we get more confirmations, what we call the several factors, the confluence of not just one, not two, not three, but 4, 5, 6, 7 factors, all pointing to that upwards direction. Does it make sense that it's a little more bullish than bearish? You get what I mean, Sobat? All right. So this is the STI. I think it's looking more bullish right now. We have tended to break the 4,008 last month. All right. Of course, we are still hovering above that new support level. In fact, I think right now, right, 4,009 would be a new support level. We've seen a bit of profit taking in the US market. That's affected the Singapore a little bit. But every time we come back down, you can see buyers are starting to push it back up. 5,000, write it down, right? 5,000 would be a very key psychological resistance level, right? I think that is a key level. I think it's so healthy that we could see a bit of a consolidation below 5,000. All right, it's healthy, right? You can see a bit of up down from 4,900 to 5,000, 1 week, 2 weeks. But I can tell you, if the 5,000 to give way, that's where more upside momentum can continue. All right, to the next phase. All right, and I think some of the analysts are even projecting STI, right, to 6,000 to 6,005 as we end 2026. I think that JP Morgan, all right, check it out. There's some analysts that have revised targets to I think some of the other, so JP Morgan like 6,000 or 6,005. All right, some of the analysts or other banks as well, 5,005 as well. All right, so that's where I think if the 5,000 psychological resistance were to give way, we could really see even more strength into 2026. All right, so that is the market. That is the market right here, the STI, whereby I've been bullish since last year. We got a bullish signal. There could still be more legs to this rally. Of course, you want to focus on the right stocks, right? The right stocks whereby, not just if the market is strong, but we want to focus on the stock whereby if the market is strong and individually, if you're looking at a stock specific, it must be strong as well, all right? But I can tell you the market is strong, but there are some stocks that are going down every other day. Does it make sense? Well, there are some stocks whereby we get bearish red color signal. Then please don't go and buy that one. Right? So don't say, because market is strong, and then you keep the bearish signal stock that's going down and down. No, right? Market is strong if market is strong. But market is strong plus you get in on bullish stocks that are also strong. They are also aligned with the market and both strong together, even better. Does it make sense, All right, so just want to make sure you understand this, right? Not just the market is strong means you anyhow just pick and choose one stock means it will go up. No, right? Because there are some stock whereby it's also going down. Oh, okay, Ken? And that's what pretty much we'll cover today to see whether are the stocks that you're asking strong or maybe weak as well. Okay, so let's go ahead right now to cover the Singapore stocks, the Singapore stocks that you guys want. So do me a favor, guys, go ahead to type in the chat. All right, type in the chat the Singapore stocks that you want a quick opinion on, right, in the Singapore market, right? I think some of you are typing like US. So today, guys, is the Singapore market, all right? So if you type like some US stocks, then unfortunately that'll be like next Friday lah. So we'll cover the Singapore market. So type in the chat, Singapore stocks, give us a bit of context. I think that's what some of you are doing, right? Wow, you write quite a bit of context, like what price you bought, you're looking to buy, you're looking to sell, and thank you so much for those of you who have give us context. We will definitely give you a bit more priority. Now let me go ahead to just pick the very first stock for today, right? Before I pass on the mic to Z, and then Jia Yi will carry on as well, right? Okay, let me choose. Okay, let's take a look at the very first stock today, Jan 2802. What is a good price to enter for Keppel? I think some of you were asking about Keppel, right? And I think Andy, you also asking about Keppel, so I thought why not just cover Keppel since I saw two of you asking about Keppel. Andy, bought Keppel at $7.10 long ago. Is it wise to continue to hold and collect dividends? All right, so Andy, you bought already, right? So you want to hold, or maybe you can go up some more, right? Or maybe collect dividend, or maybe to sell, right? So that's your question. So Andy is looking to see whether is it good to hold. Whereas for Jan, don't have, right? But what's a good price to enter? All right, is it time to enter, or maybe don't enter, or maybe you want to be careful, it's coming down, all right? So let's go to find out right now. Let me go to pull out Keppel, right? Keppel, Keppel. Let's take a look. There we go. So this is Keppel Limited right over here. So you can see, guys, I've already turned on the bullish and bearish signals. Pump. There we go. It's off. And this is what pretty much most people see. In fact, most people cannot see what we call a blank chart, right? So let's go to turn off all the boxes from my one good trend pro indicator. And this is pretty much a blank chart, all right? I could do some manual analysis on it. It's fine as well, right? But it's just so much easier, based on this tool that I have, that my team has, whereby we can turn on a few things. We get what we need. We get the confirmation. So pump. There we go, right? Quite clearly based on the long-term trend, the red and blue line, it is up. It has been up since May. The green line, up, flat in November, flat, a bit boring, started to turn up as we began 2026. All right, so right now, it is bullish. Let's take a look at the bullish signals that came out. In fact, this bullish signal came out 23rd of April, pump, another one in September, pump, another one in December. And there we go, right? How many percent would that be? What? 87% in about 9 months. 87% in about 9 months. Pretty good, right? So I would say that this is definitely one of the stocks that we have covered since last year, right? Since last year when we got bullish signals, we have alerted our clients as well in Philip Securities by WhatsApp. Reason is because not just bullish signals are out, but when we get a bullish signal plus some other confirmations, as I say, like the trend and all that, that's where we want to think about getting in, right? No, we don't just get in just because it's cheap and going down. Like for example, previously, right, when we get bearish signal, that was like in January 2025, we won't get in lah, right? But because you can see it start going down, right? What for? Right? We get in when we see signs of a reversal, and that has done pretty well, right? I would say that from April all the way to now, 87%. Right, 87%. Now, let me go to answer your question, right? What is a good price to enter for Keppel? So, Keppel will be one of the stocks that I say we have shared with our clients in Philip Securities. In fact, let me know, guys. Let me know how many of you are actually clients of mine in Philip Securities. You have a trading account under me. Just type a C for client. I just want to acknowledge all of you and thank you for your support as well. Type a C for client. If you are a client of mine in Philip Securities, I think you probably received a few times on Keppel, on WhatsApp a few times. Let me know. Type C for client, guy. If you are a client of mine in Philip Securities, you have received a few WhatsApp, all right, on Keppel, right, over the past, like since last year, all right. Client, thank you so much. David, definitely. Madeline, thanks for support. Celia, June, All right, client, very good. So you guys can check your WhatsApp, confirm you receive like Keppel, don't know how many times already since like last year. So why? Well, because you can see that he has been looking pretty good, right? That there is no bearish red color signal. I mean, I don't see any as of today, right? Still don't have. So it still looks pretty good, all right? So those of you who are client, thank you so much for the support. Check your WhatsApp, make sure you're receiving our daily updates and ideas by WhatsApp. Not just let me know, I'll get my team to sort it out, all right? And by the way, guys, as I say, those of you who are not yet a client of mine, like many of our clients over here, like Celia, Chan, Vincent, Esther, Leslie, Steven, check it out, right? Find out how you can become a client of ours for free and no additional cost. You do not pay anything more. It's pretty much the same as whatever you pay when you are trading. You probably need a trading account, right, to buy and sell stock. So if you are trading in some broker, but you don't get any service, nobody call you, nobody WhatsApp you, nobody send you any idea, no video, no training, nobody contact you, nothing, like a hotline, and you wait 10 minutes, right? And then you call, you ask for your opinion, people like, you know what you're talking about, then link is right in the chat. Check it out, how you can become a client of ours in Flip Securities for free at zero additional cost. So you can receive an idea like Keppel, right? Like Keppel, whereby we have shared a couple of times since last year, right? So let me go back, guys. So sorry to sidetrack a bit in case I forget. I just think maybe some of you are not a client of mine in Philip Securities. So check it out. Link is right in the chat. Team, just place the link in the chat again. I think it's probably hidden somewhere again, right? So check it out. Welcome you on board as a client to get some of those ideas and private trainings that we share on a daily basis. Okay, so back to Keppel. What is a good price to enter for Keppel? So of course the good price would be like last year when it was like about $6, and then of course it went up to like $8, and then we got another bullish signal, and then now it's $11. So I mean the good price would be $6-7. That's the best when we got the bullish signal, right? When we alerted our clients, right? But of course right now it doesn't mean it's not a good price, because to be honest, when it was in September, it was still a pretty good entry, right? It was like $9. You see now it's $11 plus. So now it's $11 plus. So you might say, hey, but it's too expensive. Hey, it really went up already. Well, now then you say, no, I mean, actually, we got say last year, right? But you might think that it's too expensive, right? Oh, I want to buy cheap stuff. I want to buy stocks which are cheaper. Now this one really go up. And that was exactly what people were saying in September, in July, right? When it actually went up already, right? But it went even higher, right? So first of all, one thing about the one good trend strategy is that we buy into stocks that are showing strength. Stocks that have already proven themselves in an uptrend. You see what I'm saying about? All right. It might be more expensive. It might feel a bit uncomfortable because it's a bit more expensive, like, look a bit silly to buy when it's more expensive, right? But that is the exact shift in the mindset that we want to have, right? We want to ride stocks like this, not just ride all the way and then don't care about it. And then you see like a few bearish rate signals, then you're still holding, then no lah, all right? But as long as all the signs are still pointing up, there are no bearish signals, the long-term trend is up, and all the confirmations that we see are still pointing up, then we ride. We maximize our profits in an uptrend, right? And as for Keppel, right? So back to this, you can see that I can turn on very quickly the trailing support level right over here. So this trailing support, I can see it popped up in April, right? When it was about $5.50. But as Keppel move up, it has followed it up, right? But as I say, this trailing support, don't follow too closely. You follow, you give it the space, right? You account for the volatility of the stock. Right? As long as we are above the trailing support, and we are above since April, and now we are still above, correct? We are fine. Chill, relax, right? Grab some coffee, right? Let it go up some more. Does it make sense? All right. So right now, are we above? Yeah, we're still above, all right? We're still above. We're above since April, May, right? We've got 3 bullish signals. Right? We are still above it. So a good entry could be if we were to near the trailing support. And that's a very powerful feature that we have, right? That could be a good entry if we near the trailing support. If we do see some bullish candlestick price actions right there, that could be a pretty good entry. So I would say that the trailing support right now would be somewhere around the $10.85. But I'm not too sure whether it will dip that low, all right? So Jen, I'm not sure, right? So I would say that for Keppel, we may see, I would say, some support coming in around the 11th to maybe around the 11:30 level already, right? Just based on what you're seeing right now. In fact, today we sold off a little bit as US, sold off last night, right? But as we sold off, you can see it was actually a red bar just now at about 9:30 a.m. like that, right? But now it became a green bar already, right? Because buyers are coming back. Does it make sense? So I'm not too sure whether it will dip that much, because it seems like, people are starting to buy and then kind of like pushing back up already. All right. So, but that could be a good entry. Anything 11 to 11:30, 11:40, if it does dip a little bit, all right, you could consider. But overall, it looks bullish too, maybe all the way towards the $12 target, right? So back to your question, I think Jen, I've answered your question, right? What about, we have another one, who is asking about Keppel, like Andy, right? Andy, you bought at 710, awesome. When you bought at 710, that means you got in right over here. Well, awesome. I'm not too sure whether you saw the bullish signal, but you got in at 710, you hold it all the way to 1160. One word, congratulations, right? You have really fully maximized your profits to now, right? Is it wise to continue to hold? As of now, the answer is yes. Why? Because as I say, it still looks bullish. Okay, it still looks bullish, right? In fact, you already hold from 710 until now, right? So continue lah. I don't know whether you go to 12 or 13 or 14 or $15, but as long as there's no bearish signal, if you tell me you see this bearish signal coming out, like over here, right? There was a bearish signal, bearish signal somewhere in February last year, and then we started to hit now, right? We see a bearish rate signal, right? I don't know. It could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be anywhere, or maybe even way higher, right? That's where you want to take some profit, get out, because that's where we could really see some heavy selling coming back. After 8 months, don't have you suddenly come out means something lah, right? That's what we're looking for. So what you can do is that, for this tool that we have, you can actually set an alert, right? Right click, and an alert, buy or sell alert. All right, so any bullish or bearish signals that appears, well, we can be alerted by an app notification, an email, and even a pop-up right over here. All right, so that is for Keppel. I hope that helps. I hope, Andy, that helps. Congrats on the pretty good, decent profits. Hopefully, you can continue to ride the upside even more. All right, okay, so that is for Keppel, the very first stock for today. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next Singapore stock. Z, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here, let me just change the screen. That would be iFast, right? Because I was just looking through the comment, and I think a lot of you guys, actually I saw iFast repeated quite a number of times. The very first one is by Brandon, right? Asking about iFast. You sold all your iFast at 9.88. What is a good price to buy back? So you're thinking to actually buy back. Okay. So there is also, wait, let me see. There is also Holy Hols, HOLS 7583, also asking about iFast, reach a high of $11.06, but corrected to 9.70. Is it a buy or has the trend changed to the downside? Please analyze. So maybe Hols, you are actually thinking whether what you want to do about this. You want to know about the trend first. Can, right? Then Pinky is good morning, Joey, Z, and Jia. You bought iFast at $8.84. Should you sell or hold? So there is different sides. Some people is just wanting to monitor, look at the trend first, then make a decision. Then some could be like me, holding on to a stock, right? Thinking whether should sell or to hold. Then the other one could be like Brandon, right? Already sold the stocks, thinking about buying back. Okay, so let's analyze iFast together. All right, so iFast right now, for this, I really turn on the signals. You all can see the signal itself. What do we have? We have a 1 GT bearish signal, right? That just came out 2 days ago on the 4th of February. Okay, so we have a signal, 1 GT bearish signal. Okay, but then that is just a signal, right? But of course, we don't just purely look at the signal and make a decision, because the signal is just part of a checklist, right? We want to look at the bigger picture. We need to analyze everything and look at the bigger picture, especially the trend, because we want to be on the right side of the trend, right? So let's focus on the trend first, which is the moving average, right? Simple. We look at moving average, and the 3 lines here, green, red, and blue, right? So when we look at the moving average, right, actually it seems okay, right? Not too bad, especially if we look at the price action since like last year, right? When we look at the trend, previously, you look at the green line, right? Over here in 2025, right, it was going down. It even break below the 100 and 200 days moving average. Somewhere in April, May, June, it was actually below the longer term, right? But somewhere in July, that was when the short-term strength and momentum started to build up, right? Buyers started to return. That is where you start to see, you see the green line, right, actually broke back above the longer-term moving average, right? And subsequently, somewhere in September, this is where we have a longer term confirmation as well. The red actually crossed above the blue, right? And generally now, if we look at it, right, green is above the red and is above the blue. This is typically what we want to see when we talk about moving average, when we talk about uptrend, right? So now in terms of a bigger picture perspective, when we look at the trend, green above red, above blue, okay, not too bad, right? Not too bad. And generally, they are heading up. Right, correct. They are heading up. I agree. Right. So trend-wise, not too bad, right? But we have a 1 GT bearish signal coming out. And I think especially like what Halls has mentioned, right? It has reached a high of what, $11.06, right? On this day, which is 28th of January. And then what actually happens? We started to see bears taking control. We started to see selling pressure returning, right? And over the past, I think 1 week or so, since 20th of Jan to where we are at, right? Wow, price retraced about close to 12%, right? Price retraced close to 12%. So then now we got to think about, hey, is there any support being actually broken? Because if you do know that price retrace, and if support are broken, that would mean that the bears are actually indeed quite strong, right? So this level, you can see over here, right? $10. $10 is previously right over here, right? You see that when price was actually kind of like trading sideways, short-term strength gained momentum, right? Somewhere in August, broke above the longer-term moving average. This was where this $10, right? As you can see, a psychological $10 was actually tested somewhere in August, first time, second time, November, right? And then in mid of January, it was tested, managed to break above it, then come back down to test as a support somewhere between 21st, 20th, 21, 22, 23, these few days like in January, right? Tested as a support. Then it surged all the way up to $11, like what House had said, right? But over the past few days, wow, what do we see? We see that price break below this $10 again. So this $10 essentially, right, was a resistance, right? Back here, it was a resistance. And then it turned to become a support here. Okay, let me just draw it for you. Okay, it turned to become a support over here, right? And then after that, now we can see that it is actually a resistance again, right? If I turn it back to rate, right? It's a resistance again, right? So now this $10, right, I would say would be the immediate resistance because price now is trading at about $9.70, right? And as you can see today, price open close to the resistance, right? Maybe trying to break above the resistance, but at this point in time, when it is still trading at about now it's still 11 before lunch break, right? It's still trading about $9.70. You can see that selling pressure is still very much in control. Bears are still very much in control, and it's still continuing to push the price down. So today, if you were to ask me whether iFast today will actually close back above the $10, I don't know, right? If you ask Joey or Choy, I don't think we will be able to give you 100% confirmation as to whether the price will close back above this $10 to regain that support level. Not sure, right? But based on what we can tell, because of a 1 GT bearish signal coming out, definitely it is indicating and telling us that, hey, the selling pressure has indeed returned. This is where you want to be a little bit cautious, right? Especially so if you're holding on to a position like Pinky, right? Pinky, the MIFI, you say you bought at $8.84. So definitely, I believe you are still sitting on profits because now it's $9.72, right? So you got in at $8 and let me see, 8.84. Somewhere over here, right, to where you are at, you are still sitting on the 10% profits, right? And the thing is that you might want to consider to protect your profits as well, because right now we are seeing that the selling pressure is pretty strong, right? And can price continue to hit down? It can, right? Nobody say it cannot, right? Nobody say it cannot. So, and plus now price is back at the $10 resistance right over here, right? I think there's nothing wrong for you to take profits if you would like, right? At least maybe consider to take half profits, 1/3 profits. At least consider to protect some profits, in case prices were to continue to decline, right? Prices were to continue to decline. So for those, this is for those of you who are actually holding, maybe you can consider to actually protect your profits, right? Take action to protect your profits. But what about those who are thinking about buying, right? Like let me see, where is Ben's comment? Ben's comment. Okay, sold all at 9.88. Yeah, I think sold all at 9.8. I don't know what price you actually bought then, but if you sold all, you lock in your profits, great, because 9.88, I would say it's also very close to the $10 resistance zone. Nothing wrong to take profits. So now you're thinking about buying back, great, right? Because longer term trend still looks okay, but you want to think about buying back, you also don't want to anyhow buy, right? You want to wait for more confirmation. And the thing is that now, if I look at the chart, right, perhaps at 9.50, hopefully we are able to see some buying pressure returning to support the price at $9.50. I'm not sure whether this 9.50 will actually hold. Perhaps it could be a temporary support based on what we actually see, from the December, right? December to January, right? This whole period here, you can see that this 950 was actually tested and price actually kind of like moved sideways. So if price were to head back to this 950, and then you start to see that the 100 days moving average, right, flattening out, right? Not pointing down, not pointing out, flattening out, right? Then perhaps that's where you can consider to set price alert, right? To notify you at this level, right? This is potentially where you can consider to actually, you know, accumulate on the dips. But of course, if you do that, right, just bear in mind that next week on the 12th, there is the earnings results that's releasing. So typically, earnings result when it release, prices could either go up or go down. And when we look at iFast, you look at the past earnings result when it came out, right? You can see that right over here, price can go up very fast, right? Price can go up very fast, but it doesn't mean that history will always repeat itself. That earnings result, the price always fly up. No, it can also go down, right? It can also go down. So I think it will be good to actually monitor I mean, especially when the earnings result is so close next week, right? To see how will the price stabilize because it can go back up above $10, right? If price get up and go back up above $10 and $10 hold firmly as a support once again, right? And then that would be where we are seeing a new support zone, right? This $10 would be a new support zone. And when we think about buying, we always think about buying near a support zone, right? Then this could be one of a support zone or area that you can set price alert, right? But of course, price could also get down, right? And if it gets down, then of course you don't rush in to buy just because it is cheap, right? We want to buy only, like I said, when we have more confirmation, perhaps when the 20 days moving average starts to show signs of it flattening out or even signs of it pointing back up. And if we can get a 1GT bullish signal coming out again, then that would be even better. Because if you think about it, if price were to continue to hit down, very likely, right, we may have another 1GT bearish signal. And when you got two 1GT bearish signal, would you still want to buy? No, don't just buy because the price is cheap. Okay, so I hope that gives you some idea to think about, especially for those of you who are thinking of buying to get in again, right? Or those of you who are already holding, right? And then what should you do? So these are some of the levels, especially I think close to the $10 and also the 950, right? But bear in mind of the upcoming event, which is the earnings results on the 12th, because that could send price flying up or down, right? 50-50, right? We would not know, But make sure either way, make sure to have a plan in place. Your entry price, your target price, and also your stop loss price, just in case prices doesn't pan out as you plan. Okay, so that would be iFast. I hope that helps all of you, those who are asking about iFast. I will pass the time now to Jia to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Z. Thank you for the detailed analysis on iFast. Okay, the next stock that I'll be covering on will be actually on this counter, UMS. I believe I saw some people asking, Jane was asking, UMS bought at 1.34, now dropped to 1.25. So I believe, you're asking, what should you be doing now? And also, just give me a sec. I think Jasmine also asking about UMS. Is UMS having a bearish signal already? Bought at 1.3, it's been hovering around this price, dropped to 1.23 today. Yeah, so okay, so actually if you have the 1GT indicator, you can see that based on a quick look, you can see there's no 1GT bearish signal yet. So as of today, there's no 1GT bearish signal. Currently the 1GT bullish signal is still in play. Yeah, but let us look at this counter in a bigger picture first. So previously, back in 2025, I believe it has been a downtrending stock. If you just look at it, the 200 days, the 100 days, and the 20 days moving average was pointing down back in 2024 to 2025, and it only started to point up, or it started to have some reversal back in April 2025. So back in April 2025, you can see that, if you notice, the 200 days, the 100 days starts to point out first, followed by the 100 days, followed by the 200 days. So you can see that previously there was some resistance, maybe near this area, which is around that 90 cents resistance, which actually it broke above in May 2025, and it continued to went upwards afterwards. So currently, if you just look at the chart wise, I would say previously it went up close to that $1.25, came back down to test the support of $1, went back up, but didn't went to the 125, came back down to the $1, 105, went back up to the 125, then came back down. So actually, if you notice, back in July to actually this year Jan, sorry, it actually was consolidating around this price level around 105 to actually the 125. So it actually has been moving sideways, and only recently in Jan 13, it broke above this 125, went back up, went to the 135, and today, like what you said, it came back down to the 123, now 126 at this price level. So if you just look at the chart wise, both the 100 days, the 200 days, 100 days and 200 days are actually pointing up. The 20 days moving average is also pointing up. So I would say overall, the trend is still intact, still uptrending, still strong. But if you just look at the price today, it came back down to the 125 support, which was previously a resistance. So if you were to look at it today, I would say currently it looks like even though it came back down to the 123 that level, but buyers actually came in to push up the price back to the above that 125 that level. So I would say maybe for today you want to monitor to see how the price is, where the price closed at. If it's able to stay above that 125, you might still see that there's a support at this 125 and the current resistance is at the 135. We would actually want to see that prices can break above that 135 to see more potential upside. But if prices don't stay above this 125 and come below this 125, which was previously a resistance turn support, you might see more weakness coming in. And if you were to turn on this 1GT, the trailing support and resistance, you can also notice that the trailing support is around that 121 level. So if prices come back down and break below this 125 support level, you might see that there might be more weakness coming down. And if prices break below this 121 support, trailing support, you might see that there might be a 1GT bearish signal that might be appearing, showing that there might be more weakness. And if prices are not able to stay above this 125, I would say you might see some temporary support near this 115, which was previously an area where it tried to break above and managed to break above, but a stronger support might be around that 105. So just to answer your question on UMS, if you're currently holding UMS, best is to monitor this key support 125. If prices break below this 125, there might be more weakness and you might want to have a stop loss plan. But if prices are able to stay above this 125, and if we see the prices consolidate around this 125 to if prices are consolidating around this 125 to 135 level, you might see that it's a healthy consolidation. And if prices break above this 135, you might see more upside toward that 140 or even that 145. So I would say currently best is to monitor this level, since it's today is the day where actually it came back down to the 125 support level. If prices break below this 125 and show more weakness, you might want to have a stop loss plan in mind. Yeah, if not, if it's consolidating around this 125 to 135, then you can continue to hold, and if prices break above the 135, then you might see more upsides towards it as well. Yep, so that's just a analysis on UMS. Hope that answered your question. And if not, I'll pass all my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Jai. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. And let me go to pull up this comment, right, by Raymond. Raymond, I hope you're still over here. Let me go to share my screen. I think you're asking about this stock called Zhejiang YZJ Finance, Zhejiang Financial Holding, I suppose, right? Now let's take a look at what you say, right? YZJ Finance has fallen substantially and can be a good buy for dividend yield and potential capital appreciation. What is a good support price to consider buying? Okay, so very good. So you are actually looking to buy because the price has dropped by quite a bit. So you think it's quite cheap. It can be a good buy because hopefully when you buy, then you can rebound all the way up lah. Then you can make some money, right? So let's find out whether is it a good buy or a not good buy. All right. Okay. So this is Zhejiang Financial right over here at about 33 cents, right? 0.335. So yes, indeed, it has dropped by quite a fair bit, right? From about October November, it was like 50 cents, 52 cents, then go to 45, 40, 40 now also become 33 cents, right? So yes, indeed dipped by, I would say about almost 40% already from like October, November. So quite a substantial drop lah. Okay, so that's a substantial drop whereby it is definitely cheap, right? Does it warrant a buy? Does it give us the signal to buy? Well, let's go to find out right now. Okay, let me go to turn on what we call the bullish and bearish signals from my One Good Trend Pro indicator. Let's take a look at what it says, right? Pump. Okay, there we have it, right? So you can see I've turned it on, right, in like 2 seconds, okay? And okay, maybe guys, you can help me out here. Let's help Raymond out. Buy or wait? Time to check. B for buy, W for wait. All right, I really turned on for you. You can see lah. Let me know, guys. B for buy, W for wait. Let's go to help Raymond out right over here. Help me to advise Raymond as well. What do you think? What do you think you should do? Right, to wait, to buy today, buy tomorrow, buy next week, or wait? Let's see. Wow, you can see all the comments coming in. Thank you so much, John, Aiden, Simon, wait. Andy say wait. Geneva, Brandon, wait. John, Yen Wong, all wait. Very good. I think all of you can see it is pretty much a wait. All right, thank you so much. But why is it a wait? Why is it a wait? Well, essentially, you can see that for Yang Zhejiang Financial Holding, right, we have not one, but we have two 1GT bearish signal. All right, and that came out in October. All right, in case you're wondering, is last week? No, it's quite long already. October came out already, right? So by right in October, I would tell you to wait already lah. November also wait lah. All right. In December plus another bearish signal, you still there to buy? No lah. Wait even more lah. Wait even more. Okay. So first of all, we got two bearish signals. Okay. And if you look at the green 20 days moving average line, well, it was like up from July, up, September, up, October, down. All right. So when the green line points down, it just gives us the confirmation, apart from the bearish signal, all right, that the short-term trend has turned down. All right. As I say, since October, right, quite long already, right? October, right? Down, flat a bit. December, down. Is it still down now? I think it's still down. I mean, don't you bluff yourself? Down means down, up means up. So the short-term trend is still down. The bearish signal is still in play. So one thing I want to say is that, yeah, I get what I mean, Raymond, because it has indeed fallen substantially. All right, it looks quite attractive, quite cheap, right? I mean, well, let's say from those who buy 50 cents, jialat, you know, now you buy 33 cents, confirm cheaper, right? You feel happy, right? Cheaper than them, right? But the thing is that we don't buy stuff that is cheap, because at 45 cents, it was also cheap. In fact, I think in our previous AMAS session, so I think 40 cents or what, also, I think one of our audience as well also asked to buy, all right? And it was quite cheap also at 40 cents, but now become 33 cents, also become cheaper, lor. All right, I don't know whether next week will be 25 cents, become cheaper some more, right? But the question is that we don't just buy because it's cheap, right? Because in the market, cheap can become cheaper. Right? We buy when there are confirmations of a reversal, right? We buy when there's some strength coming back, when we see a bullish signal, right? Like for example, when we see over here in June last year, pump. You tell me you want to buy over here, I will say go ahead lah. Cannot go ahead, never mind. That one you got bullish signal, the green line also turn up, the long-term trend up. Go ahead. All right. You tell me you want to buy over here, all right, in September last 2024, I think go ahead also lah. All right, pump, all the way up. All right. But now we got two bearish signal. You tell me you want to buy, I think, why you want to buy, right? I mean, don't need to buy lah. It's still weak, ma. Does that make sense, Bob? All right. So I hope that helps. Right. I hope that helps. Raymond, essentially, we don't want to buy stocks that are cheap. We want to buy when there are some good signals coming out. All right. But let me go to answer your question a little bit in terms of like, what are some of the key support levels where hopefully we may see some bargain hunting coming back. All right. So when we draw a support level, right, a support level is one whereby, you know, we have rebounded from that price level previously. Right. So as it hits to that support level where we could potentially see some buying pressure coming back. All right, and that's where you could also think about getting in near a support. Why? Because previously it's rebound from there, right? So maybe now you can rebound from there, right? But doesn't mean it hits to a support, means you buy? No. Because last time rebound from there doesn't mean this time will rebound from there. Right? But if we hit to that support, plus you see a bullish signal, plus you see some other positive things like, then it's good. Does it make sense, fun? All right. So before I draw the support, I want to share with you first, because after I draw the support, you all think that go there straight away, buy. No. When I draw a support, it just means that that is where previously we have rebounded. So if we hit there, plus we hit there and then we wait to see something else, then you can consider. Okay, not just go there and then straight away buy. No. You see what I'm saying so far? All right. So let me now go to draw since I've clarified. So what could be a support level whereby some bargain hunting can come back again for YZJ Financial Holding? Well, I would say that the support level will be quite clearly around here, 28 cents. 28 cents to somewhere around that 30 cents mark. I think these are pretty good support levels. Why? Because quite clearly you can see in March, April, May, we were definitely hovering above these levels. We broke it. We hovered above 30 cents for a while, and the rally really started, right? So we are very near. Now it's like 335, right? So it's like about 3-4 more cents, then you're about to reach the 30 cents to 28 cents. So quite near, right? So that could be a level whereby you could think about potentially getting in. If, I say again, if, not anyhow, don't just go there anyhow buy. If you were to see some signs of a reversal, right, in terms of the green line, as I say, is still down, right? You go until here, maybe start to point out, okay, fine, we got one confirmation only, one only, right? If you see another bullish signal, you take this one, take here, and then you take and you paste over here, right? Then I'll say that, okay, it's starting to look a bit more bullish, the reversal is really starting to come back again. Then I will say, get ready. Does it make sense, fun? All right. So I hope that helps in terms of when to get in and when to buy. All right. And when not to buy also. All right. I think you guys can see that sometimes it's good not to buy also. All right. Before you buy when it's weak, right? So I hope that helps in terms of the one good trend strategy, in terms of the one good trend pro indicator as well. All right. So that is for YZJ Financial Holdings. The code is YF8. Now let me pass on the mic to Z. All right. Z to cover the next Singapore stock. See, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. I think I 100% agree with what Joey said. It doesn't mean that when price go to support, I buy, because if you realize the thing that me, Joey, and Jia, we always talk about, right, is always talk about many confirmations. We want as many confirmations as possible so that we have a higher probability winning trade. Yeah, so I think that you guys should get the point. Okay, so let me move on to the next stock, right? And that would be by Agnes. Right, Agnes is asking about CNMC Gold Mine, and I think this is also one of the pretty popular stock, I would say, in Singapore, especially when it is relating to gold, right? And Agnes said bought last week at $1.45, thinking whether should hold or to exit now, right? So right now it's still trading, right? And I think what we are seeing on TradingView is at $1.27. So I believe you got in at $1.45, right? So $1.45 to where we are at now, you are probably sitting about a 15% loss, 15% paper loss, right? Because not too sure whether you want to continue to hold or you want to exit. Okay, but before I dive into this, right, I just wanted to clarify, right, with those of you who are here, I think we got 300 over people here. So the thing about CNMC Gold Mine, that we realized that we talked to a lot of our clients as well. One misconception that they have is that, hey, this one tracks the gold price. Is not, by the way. This title, yes, the company name CNMC Gold Mine is a gold mining company, but just bear in mind that this is a gold mining company that also, market other materials as well, such as like lead, zinc, concentrate. It's not just purely talking about gold. So if you are thinking that, hey, you want to have exposure to gold price, right, this is not the counter that you should actually be looking at now, because there are ETFs in Singapore stock market exchange that actually tracks the gold price, like 087, like GSD. Those actually tracks the gold price. Gold price move up, it moves up. But not necessarily for CNMC Gold Mine, right? It doesn't mean that gold price move up, this company stock will actually move up. It doesn't correlate in that way because it doesn't track the gold price exactly. Okay, so that is just a clarification that I want to make so that everybody is aware, all right? But the thing is that for CNMC Gold Mine, because in Singapore context, right, especially so when gold actually started to peak interest, right, somewhere last year, when Trump got into the office, that was when gold prices started to surge, right? And that is where a lot of interest in the Singapore market went into CNMC Gold Mine as well. right? So that is where we started to see, the trend actually back in 2025. Wow, very nice one. You can see that is what I'll call like a very beautiful chart, right? The green above the red, above the blue, and generally everything is going up, and we see bullish signals and price consistently break resistance. Very beautiful chart, right? Then subsequently in late 2025, that was where we started to see some sideways action returning to this CNMC Gold Mine, right? And you can see here I've drawn multiple lines, right? They are like support and resistance, are very clearly horizontal support and resistance. And you can see that for CNMC Gold Mine, it's pretty clear cut one. It's almost like I would say like a textbook kind of like support resistance scenario, whereby you can see that it always kind of like move in a 20-cent range based on the past price action. So you can see like from October, right, 2025 to where we are at in January, right? This whole period here, let me just highlight it. You can see that it kind of like just moving sideways, right? It was just moving sideways, and the 20 days moving average, right, confirmed that as well. It came down and then it starts to like just flatten out, right? And the support and resistance very clear lah. $1 is the support, right, back then, and $1.20 it was actually the resistance, right? Because it was actually trading in a range, trading sideways, definitely there will be a support and there will be a resistance, right? $1.20. Then somewhere in late of January, that was where price actually broke back above the $1.20, right? Broke above the $1.20 and turning it to be a support. So right now, is it still holding as a support? Yes. Do we have two 1GT bullish signal? Yes, we also have. Longer term trend, short term trend, it is also there, right? It is moving up basically. Short term going up, longer term also moving up, right? And it's still holding a $1.20 support. So for Agnes, right? For Agnes, when you actually bought at $1.45, right? I'm not too sure if you have your trading plan in place, like what's the target, what's the stop loss, and also whether did you do any position sizing, right? Because right now, I think what you are worried about is that, hey, I buy already, and then I see now I'm down like 15%, right? What should you do, right? So take note of these levels, right? Especially this $1.20 level, right? Because I think if this $1.20 level is actually broken, definitely we may potentially see more downside back towards the $1 psychological level, whereby prices was actually trading sideways. Buyers came in for several months, right? From October all the way to January. So this could be the next support that we are looking at if the $1.20 were to be broken, right? And if I were to turn on this thing called the trailing support, so I think this is what Joey actually turned on right at the start when he actually do the market analysis, right? The STI, you can see that this turn on, turn off, and turn on, right? And you can see right now, price is actually very close to test this trailing support. If this trailing support is actually broken, like what I mentioned, if price really cannot hold above and it continues to head down and break below the $1.20, definitely we will see another 1GT bearish signal appearing. And when we see a 1GT bearish signal appearing, like we have always mentioned, right, it is not about the stock will immediately crash, right? It doesn't mean that the stock will crash, but it indicates and tell you that there is more selling pressure returning, and that is where perhaps you want to think about reducing some exposure, right? Because if you think about it, let me maybe just give you a scenario, right? Because you said you bought at $1.45, right, over here, right? $1.45, maybe on this day, 28th of January, last week, $1.45. Perhaps you bought on a breakout, right? Yeah, you bought on a breakout, but this stock, because people now correlate it with gold, then that's why it is very volatile. You can see that it gaps up, gap down, and it can move pretty volatile, right? So you bought upon a breakout, nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong, but always have a plan in place, right? So in a sense, if let's say I look back here, maybe you buy upon a breakout, right? You buy on a breakout here, same concept, you buy upon a breakout, price went up, never take profit, right? Price went up to this level, wait, let me just draw it. Here, never take profit. Same thing, maybe price go up here, never take profit. Then now price come all the way back down, right? And now you're in this situation right over here, and you are thinking like, hey, should I actually sell or should I continue holding, right? And subsequently, if we were to just copy and paste this scenario right over here, and if let's say there is a 1GT bullish signal really come out and it break the $1.20, it potentially will look like that, right? A 1GT bearish signal come out, and I don't know whether the price will actually, start to consolidate this sideways. That one I cannot tell, right? But what I'm trying to say is that if a 1GT bearish signal come out, if you were to exit first, reduce your exposure, it is also okay, right? Because what we want to see is that subsequently, when price started to consolidate, and then when we actually see confirmation, 20 days moving average starts to point back up again, we get a 1GT bullish signal. It is also not too late to actually get in, right? Because when you actually get in here, you see, price actually subsequently also went up because we have more confirmation. You don't have to buy here, all the way, like what, from October all the way to January, then price go back up. This is what we actually call opportunity cost, because then your money will probably be stuck from October all the way to January, right? Whereby if you gotten out, you reduce your exposure, you free up the cash, perhaps you can put it in other uptrending stocks, right? There is not only CNMC in Singapore Stock Exchange, there's so many other stocks, right? There could be uptrending stocks, downtrending stocks. But we generally, if you think about buying, you want to be on the uptrending stocks, right? So I hope that gives you a perspective, Agnes, to think about CNMC Gold Mine and take note of this $1.20 level. Okay, and I think now you have about close to 300 people here, right? So just in case, for those of you guys who are actually new here, you don't really know what indicator are we talking about, right? This is actually one good trend pro indicator by Joey, and is where you can actually see, let me just clear all of this, all right? It's where you can actually see, bullish and bearish signal very quickly with just a click of a button. But of course, ours is the pro version whereby you can actually see a bit more things, like volume change, like horizontal support resistance, trailing support resistance, things like that. But if you just want a very, very quick opinion on the stock itself, whether, is there a bullish signal? Can it help me to make a decision better? Whether is there a bearish signal? Should I consider to reduce some exposure? You can actually try out the 1GT Lite, right? The 1GT Lite trial, free for 14 days, by the way, no additional cost. And then that is where you can also own self click on TradingView, right? You can on and off the buy and sell signal to have a look at your edit yourself, right? It's the same as what we see, right? Just that you don't have additional features, but you can also see the buy and sell signals, right? So that is the 1GT Lite trial. I think the link is actually in the chat already. If you guys want to try it out, feel free to try it out because anyway it's free, right? Anyway it's free. So I hope that helps, and I think I've talking long enough, right? I will pass the time over to Jia to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Z. So so those who are interested in the 1GT Lite indicator, you guys can just use the link and just sign up. I mean, it's free, like what Z says, so no harm trying. If you are not interested, afterwards 14 days is free. You don't want, you can cancel off. So the next stock that I'll be covering on will be actually on this counter. I think Kuna was asking Singtel. I think someone else was also asking about Singtel. I think Genevieve was also asking. So I think Kuna was saying, bought at $4. How much upside is there? And Genevieve also bought it at 2.44, now 4.7. Is it time to take some profit or continue to hold for more upside? I believe Singtel has been a counter that has been going up, very slow and steady, and it's just uptrend. You just look at the chart wise. Since actually 2024, you can see that it's very clean, very nicely uptrending. The 100 days, the 200 days has been always pointing up. The 20 days, sometimes trade sideways because there's some consolidation, but afterwards break above a certain level and continue to move upwards. So if you previously bought at 2.44, if you just look at it quickly, 2.44 to now, you're actually up 100, close to 90% for just Singtel this counter. So we just look a quick look on this counter, how the trend is like first. So I'll say overall, it's quite obvious that the 100 days and the 200 days remains to be pointing up. Previously there was some consolidation. It broke above the 360 level, went up to the $4. Couldn't break above. And then back in August 2025, it broke above this $4. Went to 440, came back down to 4, broke above, and now it's consolidating around this 440 to around that 480 to 490 level. So if we just look at it, usually it's trading around that 40-cent range, always upside 40 cents, another 40 cents to 50 cents range. So I would say currently, if we just look at the chart wise, recently it came to that 490, also that close to that $5 psychological resistance level. Couldn't break above, now it came back down. But you can see that the 20 days moving average previously was pointing downwards. Now it starts to point up. it shows that this counter actually have some short-term strength coming in as well. So I would say currently, if you just look at the chart wise, $4 to 440 previously was the range. Now it's 440 to maybe 490 to $5. But if you just look at the chart wise, there's a 1GT bullish signal. So it means that there's strength as well. But I would say currently the resistance near that $5 couldn't break above. So I wouldn't know how the counter will move moving forward. But I would say if prices are not able to break above these 490 to $5, you might see that prices might come back down to test this 440 support level. Yep. And if prices are not able to stay above this 440, then you might see some more weakness back to that $4 support. Yeah, but to answer your question on is it time to take some profit or continue to hold for more upside? I would say currently, if you just look at the chart wise, the strength is there, the long-term strength is there. But it's always good to secure some profit just in case prices come back down. So where to secure profit? Since you have been holding for I think 2.44 till now, usually we recommend to secure profit near a resistance level. So I would say like what I mentioned, the resistance level is near that 480 to 490 now. So if prices come back up to that 480 to 490 level, you might want to consider to just take some profit, maybe to hold some just in case it break above and goes up even more. But if prices come back down to that if you take some profit near that 480, 490 and prices come back down to the support of 440, and if the trend still looks good, you can use the funds to re-enter again. Nothing wrong with that. But always make sure to secure some profit along the way, just in case the counter has some reversal. So I would say for the upside wise, if prices are able to break above this 480 to 490 or even a $5 psychological resistance level, you might see that there might be more upsides towards that 540 or even 550 resistance level. So hope that answer your questions for Singtel, for Genevieve and also Kunan. Yeah, if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. Let's move on to the next stock. So you can see, guys, that we have a total, I think I just did a quick count. We have like more than 60 over of you typing in the chat the stocks that you wanted a quick opinion on. All right, so we'll do our best, guys. For those of you who we are not able to cover, my apologies. All right, apologies. We're trying our best, right? You can see what 50, 60 over stocks. There's so many. So we're trying to pick the one that a lot of you are asking about, all right, the one that we could really share an opinion as well. All right, okay, so let me move on very quickly and share my screen. I would say that the next stock, I think two of you were asking about it, so I thought why not cover this stock, and that would be this stock called Marco Polo Marine by Alex. Alex, I hope you're still over here. Marco Polo Marine, thanks for giving us a bit of context. I guess you guys, normally when we pick those stocks, those of you who have given us some context, to spend the effort and time to type a little bit, and give us a bit of idea what you're looking for, what you want, and that's why we'll pick your stock. So thank you so much, Alex. Right, so Marco Polo Marine bought at 0.163. There is a dividend incoming in February. Hold or sell to cut loss. So you got at 0.163. Okay, so a little bit higher lah. Now is 145. Okay, so down a bit. Okay, never mind. Later I'll try to answer. So should you sell? Should you cut loss? Now I think there's another one of you asking about Marco Polo Marine. You bought at 0.11. Wow, 11. Okay, 11. Okay, so I think Alex, you bought at 163 now. So we have a user EF2, you bought at 0.11. So maybe somewhere around here lah. Well, not bad, a bit cheaper. All right, so now it's 145. So you are making money lah. Very good. Price hovering around the 0.145 range after touching 0.17. Correct. What's your view? Hold, buy more or sell? Right. So I think basically both of you are holding. One got in a higher price. One got in November cheaper price. But should sell, buy some more, or do nothing? Hold. All right. Let's find out. Okay. So you can see that for Marco Polo Marine, right? I mean, I've already turned on the bullish and bearish signals. I think Z had mentioned as well. We do have a light version. Now we're using the One Good Trend Pro indicator, right? We do have a light version, One Good Trend light indicator. Well, what's the difference between the Pro and light? Well, it's a simpler version. It doesn't have so many boxes. It's just the buy and sell signals, and the simple moving averages as well, which you can turn on. But as I said, it gives you an opinion in seconds. So those of you who want to test drive the light indicator, you have 14 days free trial to it. Link is right in the chat. Right? So you can see I can turn it on, palm gone, blur, don't know what to do. All right, palm, turn it on, clarity, confidence, no overwhelm. Right, you know exactly what to do. Does it make sense, Abang? All right, so let's turn it on, of course lah. Okay, I think some of you are asking as well. Abdul, how advanced is bullish bearish signal will appear? Do we have to monitor the trading view chart on daily basis? Well, you can type the name of any stock and get an opinion in seconds. I mean, even for the market, I mean, that's what we've been doing now, right? Turn on, off. So it's up to you. You can turn it on and off, type the name, get an opinion in seconds. So that's how you can use this tool to help you, right? So of course, we've set some criteria exactly when a signal appears. So if it triggers the criteria, it will appear, and it's live. I mean, maybe a 5 or 10 minutes delay, but it's almost live. It appears as and when in the middle of the day. All right, and of course, if at the end of the day it fits our criteria, it means it will stay there. It will stay there. All right, so it's on a daily. I mean, it's optimized mainly for a daily candlestick bar. All right, so I hope that answers your questions. And I mean, some of you might be asking as well, like, hey Joey, so I can type the name of any stock, then I see the signal, right? But if the signal come out, can it let me know? So I don't need to go and type and see lah. You let me know, like an alert, that kind of thing, right? Answer is yes, you can. So you can just right click, as I say just now, right? Add an alert, One Good Trend Pro, all right? Buy or sell alert. So any bullish or bearish signal comes out, you can be alerted. You get what I mean? Then you alert, then you can see lah. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, then you might ask, Joey, alerted by how they tell me? Well, very simple. Right over here, you can set an app notification. You can download the TradingView app. Ding, then there'll be a sound, all right? Or there's a toast notification, like a pop-up over here. Even can send you emails. But last time I used to tick everything, then a lot. So I just set the toast notification only. But you could do that, right? It's an option. Cool. All right. I hope that answers your question. Now, let me go back to Marco Polo Marine. All right. So you can see that for Marco Polo Marine, we had a 1GT bullish signal since June last year, right? June, when it was around that 4-5 cents. Right? So, of course, if you have got in there, even better, right? Alex, maybe you got in a little bit higher at the peak already. All right. For user EF2, all right, well, we got in at 0.11, somewhere over here, slightly higher, but still okay. But you can see that we actually got a bullish signal way before, right? Not in November, not in October, right? In June, June last year, all right? And of course, you can see that's where we have gone all the way up till finally we got a bearish signal coming out, all right? And that will be a simply 249%, all right, 249. I think it's pretty good, right? 249%, I guess. Anything more than 100, 200, I think quite a lot already. Okay, so based on this bullish signal that came out in June, all right, as I say, when we get a bullish signal, doesn't mean you're going to buy. When we get a bullish signal, plus some other extra confirmations, then we think about going to buy, right? And what would be the confirmation? Well, you can see that when that happened, well, we were actually consolidating, all right, sideways. I think it really started to wake up right over here when we broke the 5 cents resistance. You can see the green line that was going sideways also started to turn up, all the way up, right? So then it went all the way up already, from 5 cents all the way to 145. Okay, now let's go back to your question, right? You got in at 0.11. Alex got in a bit higher at 0.163. Should you buy more? Should you hold? Should you sell? Well, very simple. If you have got in earlier, and normally, as I say, when we see a bearish signal, we would want to have a plan to get out. We want to have a plan to cut loss, to reduce some exposure. Why? Well, because when the bullish signal actually appeared, right, you can see that, okay, let me go to turn on a very powerful feature, as I say, from the One Good Trend Pro indicator, and that will be the trailing support and resistance, right? So you can see that when the signal came out in June, a trailing support actually popped up, right? It followed Marco Polo Marine in June, July, August, September, October. Follow. It gave it the space to breathe. It gave it the allowance it needed to hopefully make the 200%, which it did, right? Essentially, it allows it to maximize its profits, right? As long as it's above the trailing support, it's strong, safe, chill, relax, let it go up some more, all right, until 200%, okay? But we gave it the space. But over the past 2 months, you can see that, I mean, we've been above this trading support, not 1, 2 weeks there. I mean, for like 6, 7 months there. But finally, we went kind of like below it. Now, in fact, today we are kind of like below this trailing support. It's about the 0.150, the 15 cents. 15 cents, 0.15, right? So we're kind of like below that 15 cents. So all this while we have been above the trailing support, you give it the space, it's no problem, right? But now I give you the space, you still use up all the space, but you still go below there. After 6, 7 months there. Oh, a bit not so good, a bit shaky. All right. Plus, you look at the short-term trend. All right, you look at the short-term trend. You look at the green line. Sometimes you bluff yourself. I mean, you ask me in October, November, I'll say up. But now you ask me, now I ask you, you say up, then you're lying, right? It's confirmed down, right? You can see the green line, it is down, right? In fact, down since like January, beginning of January. So that's another confirmation that it is going down. Does it make sense, right? So we got the bearish signal plus the green line also point down, right? Plus now we are below that 15 cent. Now it's what price? Now it's 0.144, a bit lower already, right? So just a bit not so strong, not so strong. So we could still see some short-term weakness, right? But just having said that, guys, the long-term trend is okay, right? The long-term trend is okay, right? How do I tell the long-term trend? Just now we talk about the red and blue line, right? You can see the red line, no problem. Blue line, no problem, right? Both pointing up. So long-term trend, okay, no problem, okay? But I think you can agree that the short-term trend is down, right? So we don't want to enter when, like one up, one down, that kind of thing. We want to enter or get in when both of them are up. Right, when we get another bullish signal. Does it make sense, all right? So I would say that for Marco Polo Marine, right? So I think it really depends, right? For like, Alex have gone in a little bit higher. Well, when we get a bearish signal, signs of weakness, by right, you need to have a plan to get out. You don't want to just hold. Because I mean, what if you go down, then you break the 140, then you break the 130, and you get another bearish signal, and then you still hold like the just now got one stock, right? What stock is that? I think the Young Zhejiang one, right? You help me to help another of our audience, right? That we say, oh, wait, don't buy, right? Why you become that one? Right? Then go down, you hold, wait, right? And then you go down some more, right? So we need to have a plan. I cannot just hold blindly. Does it make sense, all right? Yeah. So back to user as well. What's your view to hold, buy more? Definitely not buy more, all right? I mean, now it's either you sell, or if you really want to think a bit more, you want to hold. I think, by right, as I say, you need to have a plan. We should not just hold blindly, right? But definitely not to buy more. All right, we only buy more or get in when there are signs of a reversal, right? Not because we get a bearish signal and it's going down. Does it make sense, all right? So, user, I hope that answers your question, all right, regarding Marco Polo Marine. We got a bearish signal, just a bit more cautious. We're looking for re-entry. We can set an alert. As I say, we can set an alert if a new bullish signal appears. It could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next month. I don't know, but once it appears, I will sure know, because I'll be alerted, that's where I will start looking at it. Does it make sense, Bob? And that's where you tell me that you want to think about getting in, or okay, fine. But now cannot be, now it's still a bit weak, based on what I've just shared. Does it make sense, Bob? All right. So I hope that helped there for Marco Polo Marine. All right. Check it out. As I say, we do have a one good trend light indicator free trial. The link is right in the chat. Check it out. You can turn on and on the bullish and bearish signals in seconds to guide you. All right. What to do and what not to do as well, right? When not to buy as well. All right, so that is for Marco Polo Marine. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here, that would be by CMC, right? CMC, thanks for giving us so much context, right? Type very long. Bought B61. So B61, when you check it out, is Bukit Sembawang Estate at 5.46 after it dipped from a high of 5.67. That is in 2022. Wow, has since crashed all the way to $3.10, now rebounded to $5.22. Should I get out as it breaks even, or is there even further upside? Wow, so CMC, you actually hold this stock all the way from 2022 to where we are at now, 2026. So that is like 4 years. I hope that along the way when it went down, you didn't buy more, Because by right, we should not buy more to average down. Like what Joey said, we only want to buy when there's a reversal or when the stock is going up. We want to average up, not average down, right? So let's take a look at this, right? Because now you are saying that you hold already, and lucky the stock actually. Wait, let me just maybe hide this comment because maybe a bit too long. Okay, let me just hide for a minute. All right. So you guys can see my chart over here, right? I believe maybe for CMC, right, your chart maybe might not be adjusted for data, because for us, we always analyze our chart, right, by clicking this small button on the corner, right hand side, adjusted for data. So I believe when you buy, it's the same thing. It's just that now the chart it accounts for all the dividends so it is slightly more accurate in a sense, right? So you said you bought at somewhere $2022 about $5 over. Then after that, it did all the way down, and then luckily there is a reversal, and now prices is going back up, and you are saying that it is very near to your break-even price, right? And what should you do, right? So maybe let me see how many people we have here at this point in time. 230 over of you who are still here, right? So maybe we don't look back so far. We just maybe 1 year, 2 years max, right? Based on this, maybe you guys can help CMC out as well. Based on what you are seeing on my screen right now for Bukit Sembawang estate, in terms of the trend, what do you guys think of the trend? Do you think the trend now looks good or bad, or G for good, B for bad? Maybe you guys can let me know what do you guys think about the trend now? Is it looking good or looking bad? Let me see. What do you guys think about the trend? Is it good or bad? Let's see. Let's see what some of you guys say over here. John, good. Gerard, good. Ellen, good. Job Fuscate, good. Brandon, good. June, good. Wow, okay, a lot of good. Jimmy, also still good, right? Still good. Late stage uptrend. John said late stage uptrend. G, a lot of G. Okay, at least nobody tell me now it looks bad, right? Because like what Joy said, we look at the chart, we don't have to lie to ourselves, right? Because when we look at the moving average, everything, green, red, blue, all three are actually pointing up, right? So actually, it's not bad, right? The trend, I would say the trend right now, right, looks good, right? And plus, I already turned on the signals, play cheat for you guys, right, to see there is 1GT bullish signal that came out as well, and it is actually still playing out, right? And it's still playing out. So in terms of Bukit Sembawang at this point in time, I would say that actually the trend really not too bad, right? And what we see is that price actually consolidated sideways, right? Somewhere in July, as you can see over here, it actually consolidated, moved sideways from July all the way to December in 2025. Break above the consolidation around this $4.40. Went up, go sideways again, consolidate, go up again. Now looks like it is consolidating sideways. So it's sideways up, sideways up, sideways up. And typically when you see such consolidation, then breakout above, consolidation, breakout above, right? I would say that typically the uptrend would more or less be sustainable, because we know that there are buyers coming in to support at higher prices along the way as price continues to trend up, right? So now what we are seeing over the past month, don't go so far back. 2026, you just talk about 2026, right? Price breakout above this $5. I would say this $5 psychological level, right? And it still managed to hold above it, right? Over the past week, it tested, right? Yes, indeed, it tested. Can see over here, right? It tested. Buyers came in to support the price. So I would say for Bukit Sembawang estate right now, right, the immediate support, what we are looking at, probably this $5 psychological support, makes sense, right? Agree, Agree. And in terms of resistance, right, I would say it's somewhere near this, maybe close to $5.20 to $5.30, somewhere over here, right? Because this was where we actually saw selling pressure actually return and prices pull back, right, to retest at the $5 support. Right, so it potentially, could it be a consolidation before it break out above this 530? Perhaps, right? Perhaps. But the whole point is for Bukit Sembawang estate now, the trend still actually look good, right? So let me just pull out a CMC comment again. So CMC mentioned that he bought in 2022, right? So perhaps now you are very, very close back to your break-even price already. I'm not too sure what is the exact break-even price for your stock, right? Because along the way from 2022 all the way to 2026, right, 4 years, probably you have also collected some dividends along the way. So maybe the dividends will give you a bit of copy money to reduce your average cost price, right? I'm not too sure how big is your position as well, right? So, but the thing now is that, it's actually looking not too bad, right, for Bukit Sembawang, and potential upside. So definitely when you hold so long already, you are thinking, hey, now go back break even, what, I hold so long already, should I just sell and then move on, right? But if the stock is actually still looking great, the reversal actually is continuing to play out and there's no bearish signal, I think it is still okay for you to ride the uptrend further lah. Especially now we know that around this $5.30, potentially this could be where some selling pressure could return, right? So if you are thinking about taking some profits, I think there is nothing wrong to take profits near the resistance zone. Like we always say, right? Nothing wrong to take profits near the resistance zone. And if price can break above this $5.30, I think the next upside target, right, that we are looking at potentially could be towards the $5.60 over here. I mean, of course, that provided that price is able to break and hold firmly above the 530, not just break then come back down, right? Break and hold firmly above the 530, then potentially you might see more upside, right? You might see more upside, especially the long term, short term, all still looking great and is pointing up to bullish signal that is still in play, right? So perhaps what you can consider to do, right, for CMC as well, is that because since now price is going back to your break even, right? Definitely you might also want to consider to protect your capital. Maybe not profits yet lah, because going back to break even only ma. So protect your profits, right? So one thing that you can do is, I mean, of course, this trailing support function, right? Trailing support. This is once you turn it on, you can see, right? This one, it is a dynamic support that follow the prices as it moves, right? That's why it's called trailing, right? So as you can see, price actually move up. This trailing support, this green line, also actually move up, right? So you can actually take reference from this trailing support to actually place, your stop limit order slightly below the trailing support, right? To actually protect your capital in this sense, right? Because, wow, I'm sure like there is a lot of emotions going on throughout the 4 years, especially when you see the price dip all the way down to the $3, right? And then now it go back up, wow, happy, lucky, right? Lucky. But then now it go back up already, take active steps to actually protect your capital first, right? Protect your capital first, right? And anything else, if price continue to actually move in this manner and hit up like that and continue to actually ride the uptrend, right? The trailing support, like I mentioned, because it's dynamic, right? Definitely it will actually move as the stock price go up, right? So you can actually raise your stop limit order and continue to follow the trailing support as it moves up. So in that way, now you first step, protect your profits, protect your capital. Secondly, uptrend continue, then you think of the next step, protecting your profits really. All right, while you continue to ride the uptrend now, you don't just because I break even now, I faster sell because hold for 4 years already, right? That should not be the main reason because the thing is that, yeah, you already hold for 4 years, but the key thing is if it still looks good, why hurry to sell now, right? Why are you in a rush to actually sell now if everything still looks good, right? So that is one thing that you can to consider as well, to make use of this to make use of this trailing support and resistance function together with your stop limit order to protect your capital and then protecting your profits as you continue to ride the uptrend. Okay, so CMC, I hope that helps. Yeah, I will pass the time now over to Jia, the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you Z for covering on this Bukit Sembawang. So the next counter that I'm covering on will be on this counter Propnex. Okay, I think Propnex previously was quite a counter that I think we recommended before, and also clients has been looking at it. I think some of you guys are asking as well. Vincent brought Propnex at 2.21. Should I sell or hold? I think Aiden was also asking about Propnex, got around 2.22 going down last few days. Can still hold. And I saw one more. Lam was asking, Propnex still a good buy? Kindly comment. So it looks like some of you guys actually already entered, and some of you guys are thinking of entering. So I'll just do a quick analysis for both of you guys. Okay, so for this counter, I think previously, if you just look at the chart wise, it broke above that 110 resistance previously in July and has went up quite a lot since then. So if you if you are someone that is using the 1GT indicator and you previously got notified, there was 3 1GT bullish signal, and if you enter, when you break up above that 110 and when there was a 1GT bearish signal and you exit, no, you could be sitting on a 110 profit on this counter like Propnex. Okay, so just covering on this stock. Previously, we can see that there's the 20 days, the 100 days, and the 200 days was showing very strong trend. Went up from the 110, went close to broke above that 220 resistance, turning to a support. Went close to that 260, came back down to 220, tested it, couldn't stay above, came back down. So now just looking at the chart wise, I would say if we look at it now, there's a resistance near that 220, and previously it came back down to that 180, consolidate around this level for actually about one whole month and managed to show some strength now. So I would say currently, if you just look at the chart wise, 180 is also near the 200 days moving average. So there's a key support level near this level, and the resistance will be at that 220, which previously it came to test, couldn't stay above and break below this 220 support. So now, if you just look at the chart wise, you can see that the 100 days is actually kind of a bit down, but the 20 days and the 200 days is still pointing up. So, and there's a 1GT bullish signal. So it means that now there's showing that this counter has actually some strength, but I would say currently the resistance is still at that 220, which previously it broke above 220, but couldn't stay above and came back down. So you might see some temporary support near this this $2 level, which if we turn on the trailing support, it's actually also near this 201 level. So the trailing support is actually near this $2 level, and the current resistance is near that 220. So previously when you bought it around 220, not too sure what was the level that you when you bought it. So maybe if you previously bought in last year September, you could have taken some profit at the 260, or if you previously bought it around November when it came back down to test the 220, it was a good support level, but it couldn't stay above and it came back down. So during previously, if you bought it around November, you should have cut loss. But if you hold until now, or if you bought it recently, it broke above that 220 but couldn't stay above. So currently there's some resistance near that 220 level, and it also depends on your risk appetite, and your trading plan when you first enter at 220. So what is your risk appetite that you want to take? So if you look at it, 220, if come back down to that $2 support level and break below, you might be sitting on a 10% or 11% loss. So are you willing to risk that 10% for the upside of 17% if prices are able to break above this 220? So we just look at chart wise now. For now, the support near $2 and the resistance is near 220. If prices are able to break above this 220 and stay above this 220, I would say it's a good sign that you might see the 100 days moving average actually might start to point upwards, flatten first and point upwards. And that's when, if you can see that prices stay above this 220, there might be a new support level, which you can actually consider to re-enter. So I think to answer Lam question, is it still a good buy? For now, I would say it's near a resistance level. So for now, still monitor. If prices come back down to this $2, if you want, you can enter some. But I would say for me, who is slightly more aggressive, I'll wait for prices to break above this 220. And if prices stay above this 220, then I might consider to enter when the trends are all uptrending, showing more strength in terms of short-term and long-term and mid-term. Maybe I enter at a higher price, maybe around 225, 226, but at least I know that the trend is up there and there's some potential reversal. So I'm willing to take the risk. 225 to up to 260 is actually a 15%. And if prices are able to break above that 260, which it previously wasn't able to break above, the next upside might be towards that $3 level. So I would say for now, best is to actually monitor first to see how the price is. If it comes back down to the $2 level, you might want to see whether it's able to stay above this 2, or if not, if you're more aggressive, if prices break above this 220 and turn into a new support, you can consider to enter when it breaks above this 220. Yeah, so for those who actually previously entered at 220, then it's for you to see how much risk you want to take and what's your risk appetite. And if prices continue to show more weakness back to that $2 or even break below that $2, we might consider to have some stop loss plan as well lah. Yep. So hope that answer your questions. And I think that's all for Propnex. If not, I'll pass on to Joey to cover the next up.
Okay, thank you so much, Chai. All right, and that is on Propnex. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, so you see that we have covered total. I think right now that would be the 10th stock already that I'll be covering. All right, so let me go to pick. I think this would be asked by John. All right, by John. John, I hope you're still over here. John Ng can cover GSD. All right, you bought at $500. Got a 1 GT bearish signal. Should I sell? So I believe you also have access to the tools that we have, right? The One Good Trend Pro, or maybe even the One Good Trend Lite indicator. Well done. All right, okay, let's take a look at GSD. So what is GSD? Well, GSD essentially is gold. Gold, exactly, right? So gold has been seeing a lot of volatility over the past few weeks, and this is pretty much the gold ETF that is listed on the Singapore exchange, right? The code is GSD. GSD is Singapore dollars denominated, all right? Traded currency is Singapore dollars. You can buy it. This ETF that pretty much track gold prices. So it's an ETF lah, basically, that tracks gold prices. If gold prices go up, then you go up. Gold prices go down, you go down. Right. So this is GSD right over here at about $564. So John, thanks for giving us a bit of a context. You bought at 500. Now it's 564. Right. Good. Right. Still above your buy price lah. Also got about 500. Very good. Now, before we talk about this gold ETF, let me maybe just go to talk about gold prices in general. I mean, basically the commodity on gold prices. I say this ETF tracks gold prices. So the price, I mean, the pattern you can see is about the same now because it tracks the gold prices, right? So this is gold prices right now, right over here at about 4,824. So this is the real gold commodity price, 4,4825 right here. So very quickly, you can see for gold, right? Well, I'm pretty bullish on gold, right? It has been a very strong, longer term uptrend since 2024. I mean, you look at the red and the blue line, right? Red, blue, right? So gold has been just, making new highs, higher highs, consolidating, attempting to push higher, all right? From 2 years back, it was like 2005 to 3,000 to 3,005 to 4,000. Now it's near 5,000, all right? So it's been a very strong longer term uptrend. It's what we call a safe haven currency play. All right. So whenever there's any, Trump say something like, last year tariffs lah, and a few weeks back last month, he talked about, Greenland potential takeover, and introduce tariffs to a dozen of European countries that oppose the takeover, right? Of course, next day he backtracked and said, oh, actually, he don't want to take over lah, right? But basically, when there's a lot of geopolitical tension, right? Gold being seen as a safe haven currency will benefit. All right. And that's where over the years, I think since Trump took office, definitely there's much more of these tensions lah, or a lot of uncertainty in the markets lah, right? And that's where gold have been seeing huge demand. All right. So in the long term, I would say that gold it's a very strong play. All right. It's a play on a very strong demand, not just on the geopolitical tensions or uncertainty in the market and people or retail investors or the hedge funds wanting to buy it, but also the central banks around the world, all right, all buying gold as well. Why? Because even China, they're all wanting to buy gold, right? Because it's seen as a form of a store of currency, right? A store of value, all right? So many of the central banks, including China, they are heavily buying into gold as well, right? So they've seen very strong prices in gold, right? Okay, now let's take a look at, so these gold prices before we take a look at the ETF later, but you can see right now, very quickly, I mean, you can see that we did see a bit of selling as well. That was in October, palm, all right? The past 1 week palm, we did see a sell down from 5,500 all the way down, but some form of stability have came back, all right? Some form of stability have came back. I would say that it would be maybe around that 4,500 level, all right? 4,005 to 4,006 seems like there's some support for gold prices, okay? So I could turn on, as I say, I mean, this is gold, right? But I could turn on the bullish and bearish signals from my One Good Trend Pro indicator. Turn it on, boom. Let's take a look what it says. All right, so it's not always green bullish signals all the way. Sometimes also we will have a bearish signal, all right? Bullish one, all the way up. Bearish rest for like 2 months, a bit boring. Another bullish signal came out in December, all the way up. And of course now, the past 1 week, we saw weakness and then a bearish signal got triggered. All right. Now let's take a look, right? So one thing I want to say is that when we get a bearish signal, like this, when we get a bearish signal right over here, well, it doesn't mean that you get a bearish signal means, wow, jalan, no, it's going to crash. The next day, you're like, boom, all the way down. No lah. I mean, a bearish signal is just a bearish signal, right? It's just one confirmation that some heavy selling have come back lah, right? So if you get a bearish signal, and then maybe you look at the trend, and they're all still pointing up, then still okay lah. Maybe there's some selling, but a bit shaky, but it's still overall okay. Correct? But you get a bearish signal, then the green line also start to point down. And, it was like and then it was just like flat only, right? But you tell me you get bearish signal, then the green line also like that, then jialat lah, then it will go down lah, then it will be not so good, right? But if you get a bearish signal, but the short-term trend, the long-term trend is still up, well, then I would say that it is just a little bit of temporary sell down. Does it make sense? All right. So let's take a look at the green line. I would say that the green line, so we got a bearish signal. Like last week when it sold down, we broke certain support level, right? But the green line, actually, it is still pointing up, correct? So not really down yet, lah, right? So if you tell me that, it's like going down all the way, I would say not yet, lah. As of what I'm seeing right now, there's still some strength coming back. Buyers are starting to bargain hunt, right? As gold did to certain price levels. So there's still some strength coming back on dips, all right? Even though we got this bearish signal. Does it make sense about? All right. So that's for gold. That's for gold prices, right? So overall, I think it looks pretty attractive from 5,005. I would say, as I say, 4,005 would be a pretty decent support level where the longer term moving averages are, all right? Where, in fact, I think last week also we hit it there, and then buyers started to come and buy all the way back up as well, right? It was a resistance turn support level. So 4,005 to 4,007, 4,008. That's where you could see some serious bargain hunting coming back for gold, right? Especially those that did not get in previously. Now they might want to think about getting in. All right. Now let's go back. So this is gold prices. Let's take a look at the ETF that John is asking about, GSD, right? The code is GSD. Well, this is the SPDR gold shares. All right. The code is GSD. You could also just go to any trading platform, type GLD space SG dollar, Singapore dollar, all right? And you'll be able to find this ETF, right? That pretty much track gold prices, right? You can see it's at 564 Singapore dollar. This is a Singapore dollar one, right? There's a US dollar one. This is a Singapore dollar one, okay? And you can see right over here, well, the pattern look a bit the same, lah. You can see we got some bullish signals, all right? All the way up. October gold also got bearish signal, then also have, right? So came down, right? But what happens? We got two bullish signals in November, December. There we go. Right. So back to your question, John. You got in at 500. Very good. 500 means about here, right? Not too bad. I don't know whether you got this signal. Whether you saw this signal and then you got in, great, right? If you got in, great, right? All the way up. And now there's a bearish signal, right? I think so. You can see that. So I believe you have access to this tool that we have. Right? You're probably one of our graduates, or you're kind of like test driving the one good trend light indicator as well, right? So, but good that you can see the signal. So indeed, yes, indeed, right? We have a bearish signal coming out. But same thing, right? You look at the green line. So the long-term trend, the red and blue, do you to say that one has been up since 1-2 years ago, huh? So long-term trend is good, no problem. Okay. Short-term trend, the green line, same, like gold still turning up, right? So it's still okay. The reason why we got a bearish signal was because we broke this trailing support around that maybe I could turn it on for you. You can see, right? We broke the trailing support right over here around that 590, 580. It was like following, right? It was like following gold as it moved up, and then boom, we just went down, right? And the reason why gold sold off, the reason why gold went up was because I say geopolitical tensions and uncertainty in the market and all that, right? But just on Monday, we sold off quite heavily in gold, right? More than 8%, right? Sell down. Well, because I think Donald Trump actually nominated Kevin Walsh as the potential next Federal Reserve chairman. So, and then that's where he's seen as maybe more, more pro in terms of cutting rates, right? I would say a major shift in the monetary policy in the US, right? And that kind of like triggered a sell down, all right, in gold, right? Because of that, all right? So a little bit more volatile, I would say, for gold right now. So that's the reason why we got a bearish signal. So let me go to turn this off, the trailing support, right? And you can see that, as I say, the green line is still up right now, okay? So should you sell? Well, we did have a bearish signal, All right, we did have a bearish signal. I say it looks a bit shaky, but overall, that's the only one confirmation. Right, overall, I'm still bullish on gold. What I would say that a support have came out, if we can draw it for you right now, the support have came out for gold right here, around the $550, right? Okay. In fact, I think today, right? Today, I think we went to a low of about 551, and then some bargain hunting came back. Now it's 564 already, right? So I think 550 would be a little bit of a support level. Over the past few days, that seems to be a space support level, right? Resistance, $600. I think the range is like 550 to 600, right? 550 to 600, you might just consolidate for a while, yeah? And look at it, like you can see previously, previously in October, right? Same thing, we got bearish signal. But what happens? We came down, right? But we consolidate, rest a while, boom, bullish signal, boom, another bullish signal, right? So now we got bearish signal, same thing, right? In October, also got bearish signal, right? So we got bearish signal. But if we can stay above the 550, right? Then I would say like that, consolidate like here, consolidate. Then boom, another bullish signal come out over here or here. There we go. That could lead the next phase of the rally. Fast. You see what I'm saying so far? All right. So that could be what I'm looking for as well, if you really want to get back in. But right now, I think there's no, if it stays above the 550 support, it still looks okay. All right, it still looks okay. You don't need to rush to sell, all right? Because at least the support is still holding for now. Okay, so that is for gold. GSD, the gold ETF that pretty much tracks gold prices. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. I don't know if we have done a recap already. Maybe I'll just do a very quick recap, right, of some of the stocks that we have did right from the very beginning, right, when Joey first started the Ask Me Any Stock session. Because I think that in the chat, I saw some repeated counters as well, but don't worry, after this you can watch the replay on YouTube. Okay, so the Joey actually started off with STI, right, a market analysis of the Singapore Straits Times Index, and the very first stock that he covered was Keppel, followed by iFast. I did iFast, and then CIE actually covered UMS, right, and then the next stock is Yangzijiang Financial Holdings, followed by CNMC Gold Mine and Singtel. And then Joey went to cover Marco Polo Marine, and I covered Bukit Sembawang Estate, and then Jia actually covered Propnex, right? And Joey has just covered the 10th stock for today, and that is the SPDR Gold ETF in the Singapore Stock Exchange, and the stock code is GSD. Okay, so moving on, let's cover the next stock, and that will be the 11th stock for today. And let me just change my screen right over here. All right, and that would be a stock by Esther, right? Esther, I hope you are still here. Esther is asking about Addvalue Technology, right? A31, that's the stock code, right? And you're thinking about adding. So I'll assume that you already have position and you want to add more, increase your exposure. And you're asking what is a good price to get in. Hope your team can advise based on one good trend. Okay, so let's take a look at Addvalue Technology. And by the way, this stock, right, just I want to highlight first, this stock is actually a penny stock. As you can see, the price is less than 10 cents on. So penny stocks, typically they can be quite risky as well. So that is something just to take note, because they could also experience extreme volatility. And also penny stocks company, by the way, for Addvalue Tech, I have not really going to look at the books of the companies and anything like that, like the fundamentals part. Not really, I have not seen anything, right? But what we are doing now is based on purely price action and technical analysis. All right, so I'm not too sure about the company, the management, the books, the financials, right? But typically penny stocks, sometimes they have the risk of being delisted and also facing bankruptcy. So that's a due diligence that you gotta do your homework. All right. So let's take a look at Addvalue Technology based on the price action that we are seeing right now. Right. So based on technical analysis, I mean, would you guys agree with me that actually Addvalue Technology, the trend looks quite nice, right? The chart also looks quite beautiful, and I think this is also I would say in my books, a beautiful chart, right? Uptrending beautiful chart, right? Why all the moving averages are hitting up, and we can see a very, very classic textbook uptrend as well. You can see right over here, right? Okay, let me just turn this to black. Okay, so you can see that it's sideways, broke up, sideways, broke up, sideways, broke up, and now maybe sideways up like that. I'm not sure, right? But potentially that is what could actually happen, right? Because over the past months, even since 2025, we always see the price actually consolidated first before it broke above, consolidated again, then break above and consolidate again, right? So right now, price for Addvalue Tech is at what? 0.77, right? 0.077. And we see that, okay, uptrend, I don't have to talk about it already. Everybody know that the uptrend for long-term, short-term, all heading up. And we got 3 consecutive 1GT bullish signal that is still playing out. No bearish signal yet, right? And the price at this point in time is trading at 0.077. Okay, so Esther is thinking about adding on to increase exposure. I think nothing wrong. I think in fact, that's a good mindset to have, especially so that you know that the stock is actually trending up and you're not afraid to buy the stock at higher prices, because typically a lot of people or a lot of clients that we actually spoke to, wow, actually the price go up already, not comfortable to buy. But actually it really still, the stock still looks good, you know, the trend is still strong. But then it is just because of the mindset that they don't want to buy at higher prices, because last time they buy even cheaper, right? They see so to buy at higher prices, right? Then they miss out on the opportunity, right? So the thing is that I think Esther, I would want to affirm you that your mindset, right, definitely is in the right direction, whereby you are thinking about buying into stock, especially when you know that the trend is still good. All right. So then now the thing is that of course we want to buy, but we also don't want to anyhow buy, right? You also want to buy near a support zone, right? So that is where the support and resistance is very important, right? That's where you want to know how to actually find out where's the support and where's the resistance. Then you can think about, okay, this is potentially a zone that I want to set price alert and I want to potentially accumulate on dips, right? So based on this right now, what can we see is that price is at 0.077, right? And over here, can you guys see that around this 0.075, right? This previously back in, where is this? Start of January, January all the way to February, right? About 1 month. This is where 0.075 is actually being tested as a resistance, right? It then broke above it. Now prices is coming back down to retest this level. So I would say that actually, in fact, here, right, would be what we call a potential support zone, because it is in fact a resistance turn to become a support, right? But whether will it hold, I think that is something that we need to monitor because today, prices over the past 2 to 3 days, it has pulled back, right? It has pulled back from which level? From a resistance, right? Somewhere close to this 0.085, right? This was where we started to see selling pressure returning, and then price pull back to test the 0.075 support level. So for Esther, right, if you're thinking about potentially, adding on more position, you want to buy near a support zone, I think this potentially could be where you could set some price alerts, right, to notify you. I think it would be good for you to actually monitor for a couple of days, because today it seems like we are heading back to that 0.075, right? But I'm not sure whether it will hold, right? Because like I said, this is a penny stock as well, and penny stock usually it can be quite volatile, right? It can be quite volatile. So you want to monitor whether this 0.075 hold and it's a firm support, then potentially this is a potential area that we can consider to actually accumulate on dips, especially on pullback. But taking profits wise, resistance here, right? This is potentially an area that we can consider to set alerts to actually take profits as well, because you're thinking about adding, right? But along the way, if prices reach resistance zone, there's nothing wrong for you to take profits, right? You take profits already, prices pull back to a support, the support holds firm. That's where you can accumulate again, right? And that's where you can continue riding the uptrend, right? So there's nothing wrong to actually take profits, I would say, near this 0.085 resistance right over here. And if prices is able to, do the same thing like what it has, right? Consolidate, break out above, then I think the potential upside targets that we are looking at, right, will be towards this 0.094, 0.095. How did I get this? You can see over here, I just bring this projection down, right? You can see that it was actually trading within this range, right, for about 1 month, right? I project it up. Pretty similar, right, to where the selling pressure started to come back, 0.085. And if you project it up again, that is the next potential upside that we can estimate if prices can break above the 0.085 and hold firmly above it. All right. So these are some of the levels and some of the zones that you can take note of, right, Esther? And just remember, right? Okay, let me just remove all of this, right? Yes, it looks great, right? Everything looks great. But remember that because now you are already having on positions and you are thinking of adding more positions, you are already probably sitting on some profits, right? And you can make use of this trailing support function. As you can see, wow, it has been just following the prices as it moves up, giving it space to breathe, right? And it has so far since when? Since May 2025, it has not broken below this trailing support yet, right? So apart from just thinking of adding on more positions, maybe you can take one step further, right? To think about protecting your existing profits as well if you're already sitting on profits, right? And that is where you can make use of this trailing support function to, you know, like what I mentioned earlier on, right? Have a stop limit order and slightly below, right? Slightly below the trailing support, right? And continue to just follow it as the trailing support goes up. And that is how, you know, you can also, you know, protect whatever that you have in terms, whether it be capital or your profits if you're already sitting on some. All right. So Esther, I hope that helped to give you some level to think about, and also maybe to take one step further, right, to protect what you already have. Okay. So that would be for Addvalue Technology. Yeah, and I will now pass the time over to Jia, right, to actually cover the next Singapore stock.
All right, thank you, Z. So the next stock that I'll be covering on will be on this counter, I think Wilmar. Okay, I think Tiffy was asking about, no, Wilmar bought a few years back around 4.4. It seems to be moving for the past few weeks. What's the trend going forward? And I think Catherine was also asking about Wilmar bought, I think, not sure, is it 3.65 or yeah, but any further uptrend. Yep. So I was looking through this and I was like, oh, to 4.40. It looks like you previously bought it a few years back, could be around at 2021, at the near the high, and it's been coming down. And I believe this counter previously I was also looking at it back in 2024 to 2025 has been consolidating or moving sideways from that 2.80 to that 320 level previously. So it looks like the counter actually was trading sideways from 2.80 to 3.20. You can see that the 100 days and 200 days moving average actually was also moving sideways, and only recently back in Jan, it actually broke above. Actually, previously it broke above this 320 in October, went back up to the 335, but couldn't break above that resistance, came back down, couldn't stay above that 320, came back down. So now I would say you can see that previously it was a bit of trading sideways, but now the difference is, if you look at it, the 100 days moving average and the 200 days moving average is actually kind of pointing upwards already. And recently it broke above that 320 and there was a 1GT bullish signal that appeared. Next, we also see that recently it broke above that 335 resistance that previously it couldn't break above, and now there was like another 1, 2, so now there's 3 1GT bullish signal that appear. So you can also notice that there's a resistance near that 350, which it went to the 350, came back down to test at 335, and now it's near that 350 resistance again. So I would say currently, the trend wise, it looks like 100 days, 200 days, and also a 20 days moving average is pointing up. The support is currently near that 335 and the resistance is near that 350. So if prices are able to break above that 350 level, the next upside might be towards that 365 or 370. So previously, if you guys have bought it a few years back, when prices actually broke a certain key levels, you should have cut loss, but you have been holding for years and now it looks like there's some movement for this counter. So it's best to also monitor this counter closely, just in case prices are not able to break above a certain level and come back down and maybe end up might be showing more weakness again. But for now, I would say for the chart wise, it looks like the support is at the 335 and the resistance is near the 350. If prices are able to break above the 350, the next upside could be 37 to even the $4 resistance level. So I would say currently, if you monitor wise, there's a 1GT bullish signal, it means that there's some strength. And if you were to turn on that trailing support, if prices are not able to stay above this 335 support level, which you broke above, you might see that there might be weakness back to that 320 or even that $3 support level. And if you look at the trailing support, it's around at 330. And if prices break below this 330, you might see more weakness coming in. So I would say for now, the trend wise, it looks strong, but you might want to closely monitor to see whether it's able to break above the 350 for more upside. Yep. So hope that answer your question, Tiffy, and also I think Catherine. Yep. So if not, that's all for Wilmar. I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the next up.
Okay, thank you so much, Jai. Okay, so now, guys, we have covered a total of like 12 stocks. I think we can just do one more round. Let's do one more round, guys. As I say, guys, there's more than 60 over, 70 over stocks on last count. So our apologies, we cannot cover like 50, 70, 80 stocks. It will probably take like 10 hours or the whole day, right? So let's just go one more round, right? We'll, each of us pick one more final Singapore stock. And then at the end, we'll have a bonus stock that we like that we want to share with you as well, and you can put in your watch list. Okay, so let me go ahead to share my screen right now, and let's talk about this stock. I think Joe is asking about this stock called CSE, right? So I bought CSE at 0.845. Thank you so much, Joe, for giving us a bit of context about 0.845. That means now is what? Now is $1.12. All right. Oh, now it's trading at 114. Okay, now it came down a bit like 112. Do you think that there's any possibility of a further upside? So very good. You bought 845. Now it's 112. So you are making some money, right? So I think maybe you bought around maybe November around here. All right, very good. Okay, so this is CSE Global. In fact, CSE Global was, if I'm not wrong, definitely one of the stocks that we have covered since last year, where I got my team to send out a note to our clients in Phillip Securities, all right, by WhatsApp, right? So as I said, those of you who are clients of mine in Phillip Securities, check your WhatsApp. You probably received a few times from me on this stock already, all right? Why? Well, because, let me just turn on the bullish and bearish signal to see what it says. Pam, on, there we go. So you can see that we actually had a couple of like bullish signals coming out since April last year. June, another signal, all the way up. Got a bearish signal, but a few days later, two more bullish signal came out. All right, I think we sent out a note. I think Joe got in great. And he went from like about 75 cents all the way to $1 over cents. All right, I mean, we don't talk about the one in May, but let's move to the most recent one to now 55% in about 3 months, right? 55% in 3 months, right? So those of you who are clients, I think you probably got this notes on CSE Global on our WhatsApp, all right? Team, just place in the chat. As I say, guys, some of you might be actually scrolling through YouTube, right? Facebook, right? And you start kind of like, bump into this whole ask me any stock, and then you have some Singapore stock and you ask, right? Well, great, right? But the thing is that if you are not getting our daily updates and ideas by WhatsApp, WhatsApp, WhatsApp. Okay. The link is right in the chat. Check it out. How you can become a client of mine in Phillip Securities for free. You do not pay anything more. You get these ideas a bit faster. Now it really went up a bit, right? But okay, maybe you can still go up, right? But if you want to get a bit faster, okay, check out how you can get some of those ideas daily for free by being a client of mine in Phillip Securities, whereby you pretty much open a free trading account under me in Phillip Securities, where I'm a broker, where Z and Jai and a few of my team members as well, we're all top brokers under me in Phillip Securities. So you get some service at least, some ideas, some video. You get some personalized service in terms of WhatsApp contact, right? Not some hotline, you gotta wait 10 minutes, right? All right, find out more, all right? So link is right in the chat. I said I do not pay anything more, all right? So especially if you are trading, then you need a trading account, right? But if you're like kind of like trading and then you just have a trading account, then you just log in online to an app or some website, and then own self, nobody send you anything, that kind of thing, right? I think have some service at least, don't pay anything more, right? Link in the chat, okay? So you can get some of those ideas, I think, like Joe a bit faster. I think Joe, you're a client of mine, if I'm not wrong. Joe, confirm, right? So very good. Let's take a look at CSE Global right now. Okay, so back to your question, right? Do you think there's any possibility of further upside? Well, we got bullish signals in October, pump. Another one in January, pump. It went up a bit faster. It went up a little bit more, right? Now, let me go ahead to just remove all the drawings and let's see where we could potentially head to right now. So I could turn on the trailing support level right over here. And you see that the trailing support is somewhere around the $1.03, right over here. It just popped up since October, right? When it was popped up, it was like about 65 cents. So 65 cents, as I say, are these trailing support that me and my team have turned on, right? It allows the stock to breathe, right? It give it the space to hopefully go higher, right? So you go up, then I follow you, right? Go up, then I follow, right? But if you never go up, then like see over here, it start to stay flat. Why? Because you also never go up, so it just flat, right? But once it start going up, then in December, it follow. Now follow, right, from 65 cents, follow until now become $1.03. Right? Are we still above it? Yeah, still above, right? In fact, there's still some space between the price and the trailing support. Right? Why got space? Well, because as I say, this trailing support give it the space, right? It will account for the volatility. So any natural pullbacks or slight dips near the trailing support must be above, right? Still okay one, right? Because we give you space, right? Okay, so it's still above, right? And of course, you look at the trend for CSE Global. Well, quite clearly, the green line is still pointing up. If you ask me in December, I'll say sideways, but now in January, we've got another bullish signal coming out. It started to move up. The green line also from sideways started to point up. Right? Is it still pointing up? Yeah, I think still pointing up. It's still pointing up. Okay? Right? So the short-term trend still up. Long-term trend, the red and blue has been up since last year. They aren't doing to say, they're very easy. Primary school so can see. Okay? So long-term trend is up, short-term trend is up. I think we are still looking good, right? Trailing support 103, but if I could say like maybe 105 to 110, you can see some bargain hunting already coming out on dips right over here. Right? So that could be where, I would say that, on dips, you could maybe think about re-entry, entering on dips to load up on more positions. I think Z has mentioned this now as well, right? For like Addvalue Tech, right? Whereby, most people, if they're holding on to a stock. So that's one thing about a mindset. That's one thing about the one good trend strategy that I have, right? Most people, if you bought a stock, it goes up. And then most people will have the mentality that I bought, it go up, I'm making profit, making money, very happy, right? Mentality is what? Sell, right? We'll be thinking about selling. Most people will not think about buying, because like, go up, then I go and buy like a bit like more expensive, like go and buy for what? I already have, still go and buy more expensive for what, right? So most people will be like that, right? But in fact, what the pros are doing is that, yeah, you have bought it, I know it's cheaper, right? Good. You go up, you make profit, good. But the pros are thinking about scaling up, averaging up, increasing that winning position. Does it make sense about? To make even more profits, of course, with a plan and all that, right? But that's just a shift mindset that I want to share with you guys. Not just about selling, but actually can buy some more also, right? Because it's still good, Does that make sense, about? All right. So that is one thing about mindset. I think that's what Z have shared as well. And I think you just want to, share a bit more on that as well, right? In terms of the mindset. Okay. Now let's go back to CSE Global, right? So CSE Global, as I say, it looks good above 105, above 103, right? If I could say, we might have seen a bit of a resistance at $1.15, right over here, right? Quite clearly, like you can see, 1.15, we touch, then come down, touch, come down. In fact, today, I think just now, this morning also touch 115, come back down. Yeah, so you see, now it's 112, right? So I think the range is like that, 105 to 115, up, down. It's resting for a while. Previously also rest for a while, right? So rest for a while. So it's resting for a while, good. It's healthy to see a bit of it taking a breather, right? Taking a rest before attempting to break that 115 resistance to maybe even push higher, right? So you can see I set some alerts, 116, 117, right? So we could set some alerts such that if it does break the 115, it goes to 116, 117, 118. That is where potentially we may even have a new bullish signal, all right, that could lead the next phase of the upside even faster. All right. So that is for CSE Global. All right. I think it looks good. It's still bullish. All confirmations are still pointing up. I think it's definitely more up than down for now. I hope that helps, Joe. All right. And that would be for CSE Global, one of the Singapore stock I say that we share with our clients in Philip Securities. If you want to get these ideas faster, daily, for free, WhatsApp, link in the chat. All right. Okay, good. Let me pass on the mic to Z to cover the next Singapore stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so I think the last stock that I will cover before I pass the time to Jia Yi, right, will be this stock, DBS, right? DBS by Ben, right? By Ben. So DBS has been going up. I would like to know what is the next resistance price so that I can take some profits. My average buying price is 36 and I have more than 2,000 shares currently. Wow, Ben, thank you for giving us context, right? And typing so long so that we can tailor the advice to you lah, right? To you. So you mentioned that you bought at your average buying price lah. So perhaps you buy in different tranches. Your average is 36 ah. So maybe let me just type this first, okay? The comment a bit long. Okay, so you bought at about 36 36. That would be, yeah, your average. Wow, your average is really at the low here lah. So perhaps along the way you can be buying, and your average is at 36, and 36 to where we are at now, that is what? That's about 64. You're sitting on 64% profits. Not bad, right? And I like it that you say that you want to know the resistance so that you can take profits, but not full profits. You take some profits, which is great, right? Which is great. Why? Because you also agree, and I believe all of you here, 250 of you who are still here, also agree that DBS definitely uptrend still looks strong, right? Long term, short term, all three moving averages are heading up, right? So Ben is thinking of taking some profits. Nothing wrong, because you want to take some profits, lock in some profits, and then when prices were to pull back towards support level, can consider to actually accumulate again. That's fine, right? That's fine. And especially so that, you know, the fact that Ben's average cost price is at $36, right? Which is very, very far from where the price is currently at. So there's nothing wrong to lock in some profits, right? So and for DBS, as you guys can see, there is 1, 2, 3, three consecutive 1GT bullish signal that is actually still playing out, right? They're still playing out. So in terms of the trend wise, definitely I think it's still quite bullish, still looking quite bullish for DBS. All right. And Ben's main question is, what is the resistance one? Because when you think about selling, you want to sell near resistance, like what we always say, nothing wrong to sell near resistance at resistance zone, right? And based on the past 1 month of price action since, you know, at the start of the year 2026, we can see that there is 2 levels that I've already drawn here, right? One is the support and one is the resistance. The support is very clearly somewhere near this like 57, 58, you know, this zone right over here, right? I would say that this is what we call like a support zone, right? For those of you who are maybe thinking about buying, thinking about increasing exposure, or maybe even like no position in DBS, right? I want to think about buying. This could be one of the zones that you can potentially look at, set your price alert, right? Because this is what we call a support zone. It's never a line, by the way. Support is never a specific point, because the line or the point that I draw could be slightly different from Joey, slightly different from Jiayi, right? But it's always around the area, around the support zone, right? So I would say that for DBS, around this 57, this could be one of the support zone, all right? And in terms of resistance, right, you can see that price break above, you know, this 57, previously was a resistance, right? Break above, then 57 is a support. Selling pressure came in, pushed price back down, retest this level, buyers came in, right? And it pushed the price all the way up to where? To where? This $60 psychological level. This was where we first started to see selling pressure returning, right? Then price pulled back 2 days ago. Sorry, not 2 days. Yesterday, 5th of Feb. Same thing. Price attempted to head towards the $60, but it still cannot break above it. And today, yeah, now it is trading at about 59, right? 59. So I would say that actually $60 here, right over here, is what we call a resistance zone, because $60, number one, is a psychological level, right? And when we typically talk about psychological level, that is levels where a lot of buyers and sellers will be at to buy at support level and to sell at psychological resistance. So I would not be surprised at the $60, right? We might see like price testing it a few times, selling pressure is there, you know, for people to actually take profits, right? I think nothing wrong with that. So to answer this bank question, right, the immediate resistance, you'll be here, around the $60, right? Around the $60 range. And you know, the thing is that if price is able to consolidate and then it breaks above $60, then a lot of people might be asking, hey, then what's the next potential upside target that we are looking at, right? So with that, always do a simple projection up based on the range that it was trading over the past month. So, and this is about, I would say, $3, right? 57 to $60, about $3 range. So perhaps we could be looking towards the next upside around maybe 62, 50 to even like $63 right over here, right? This could be the next potential upside target that we are looking at. You know, if prices can break and hold firmly above the $60 first, it must be able to break and hold firmly, not just break, but hold firmly above the $60 before we are able to see more, you know, interest and buying pressure returning to DBS, right? Especially when we know that the uptrend, short term, long term, definitely still looks great. 3 bullish signal is still playing out. But one thing that I want to highlight, right, to you guys, right, just to take note, is that as you can see over here, Monday on 9th of February, that is where DBS is actually releasing their earnings results. Okay, so that could be a catalyst in terms of whether price can be above the $60, or maybe it goes back down to test the support at 57, right? So that is something that you want to take note of, right? To take note of, especially on Monday, perhaps we can see some movements in DBS. Okay, but yeah, for Ben, perhaps you can consider to set some price alert along some of the levels here, as mentioned, right? And if you are thinking about taking profits, I would like to affirm you that there's nothing wrong to actually take profits. Don't have to take full because if you take full, then price go up, you're like, hey, why I sell so early, right? Yeah, but I think I agree with what you say in terms of taking some profits, not full, but yeah, some profits to lock in some of the profits that you have. All right. So that would be for DBS. I hope that helps. I will pass my time over to Jia Yi to cover the last stock before we move on to the bonus stock for today.
All right, thank you, Z. I think before I move on to the last stock, just like to thank everyone who are still here. 200 of you guys. I think now should be a lunch break, but you guys are still here listening to us. Going through all the stocks that you guys requested for. So thank you for that. The last stock that we're covering on, since Z is talking about DBS, I think I was just looking through. I'll be covering on this counter, UOB. I think Linda was asking on UOB just now. Last sold at 38.9, bought back when it comes back down to 38.31. Expect to move out to above 40 possible. I think when it went up to 38.9, it could be that day when it went up, then you could have some profit and you bought back afterwards. Yeah, so I think UOB, out of all the three banks, UOB was the one that moved the latest. I think DBS and OCBC previously moved up quite a lot, and only UOB recently moved up. I think in January and around 21st or actually 22nd, sorry, when it broke above that 37 psychological resistance level. So let's just look at the chart wise. So I think this counter previously, UOB has been kept under this 37 resistance quite a few times back in Feb. It came to test that resistance about one time, and in July it came back up to test another time but couldn't break above. Has been trading a bit of like sideways, came back down to about the 33 to maybe that 33.50 to 34 level, and only recently it broke above that key resistance level of 37 and actually went up. But currently, if you look at it wise, I would say if you look at the trend wise, it's actually starting to point up. If you look at it, the 200 days is actually pointing up, the 100 days is pointing up, and also you see the 20 days is obviously pointing up lah. So actually, you just look at trend wise, there's a short term and long term trend that's coming in. If you look at the price wise, previously when it broke above the 37, it went up quite a bit but came back down recently, and it was able to stay above this 38 support level. So I would say currently, if we were to look at it wise, there might be a higher support at around that 38 level, which actually the past 1 week or more, 2 weeks, it has been staying around this level. So it came back down to 38. Buyers came in, pushed up the price. I think today it came back close to the 38 and buyers came back in again to push up the price. So I would say currently, if you look at it wise, 38 is a new support level, and the trailing support is around at 37.5, giving it some space to breathe as well. So if prices are able to stay above this 38 level, I would say you might see some resistance near that 40 level, which previously it came close to that and couldn't go close to that, but didn't break above the 40, came back down. So if you look at the trend wise, the trend is still uptrending, it's still strong. Maybe it's one of the slower banks, but after DBS and OCBC break above many multiples level, I think finally UOB broke above the 37, and now maybe there might be more upside towards for this UOB counter. So if you just look at it wise, 38 to 40, if it's able to break above this 40 key resistance level, a psychological resistance level as well, the next upside might be towards that 42 resistance level as well. So I wouldn't know how the price will move moving forward, but if prices are able to stay above this 38 support level, the next upside might be towards the 40 or even the 42. And I believe this counter previously, when it broke above the 37 key resistance level, client under us also received a notification as well, or like an alert to inform you guys, no, the prices actually broke above 37 and there was like there could be more upside towards this counter as well. So I believe clients under us also has been receiving a broadcast on different counters, and UOB was one of it as well. So for those who are not interested and want to find out more, or no, you want to receive alert so that you'll be notified on what kind of stocks to look out for, believe the link is in the chat. You can click on it and just register. I mean, it's free to become a client under us as well. I mean, no harm trying out. So I believe that's for UOB. If not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to cover the first bonus stock.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. So very good one on UOB. All right, very good one. I think for UOB, we did break that $37, very key psychological resistance. And yeah, I think Jai mentioned as well, a note was definitely sent out to our clients. And I remember I did draft out that note on WhatsApp that was sent out to clients. Of course, now it's a little bit higher already, 38 plus. 38 would be a good support, like what Jai mentioned. I do agree with it as well. All right, but I think, yeah, if you want to get some of those ideas, as I say, much faster by WhatsApp, find out how you can become a VIP client of mine in Philip Securities for free. And that's where we have me and my team to assist you, to support you, to send you some of those top ideas. Cool. All right. Okay. Now let's move on right now to the next segment of today's Ask Me Any Stocks show, right? And that would be the bonus stock, right? The bonus stock for today. All right. So what is the bonus stock? Well, essentially, as I say, right, in this Ask Me Any Stock session, we actually cover the stocks that you guys are asking about. Right? I think we've covered a total of 15 stocks, right? So if you miss any of those stocks, right, or maybe you're asking about it, but we did not cover it again, all right, watch the replay. It will be on my YouTube channel, right? Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, right? But before I talk about this stock right over here, the bonus stock that I want to share with you guys, let me quickly just do a quick recap of all the Singapore stocks that we covered today, right? So right at the beginning, I talked about the market, right? The STI, Singapore Straits Times Index. And then the very first stock that I chose was Keppel. Z did iFast, UMS, Yangzijiang Financial Holdings, CNMC Gold Mine, Singtel, Polo Marine, Bukit Sembawang, Propnex, GLD Singapore Dollars, the SPDR Gold Trust, all right? Addvalue Tech, Wilmar, CSE Global, DBS, and Jia Yi just covered UOB. 15 stocks, guys. All right. So I hope that you found it valuable. I hope that we have covered the stock that you guys were asking about. You see, there's more than 70 over stocks, right? We definitely cannot cover everything. My apologies, we cannot cover your stock. Hopefully, you can join us in our next AMAS session, or maybe even have access to the tools that we talk about as well. And you could, turn it on and off to see the bullish and bearish signals. All right. Okay. Now let me go ahead to share with you guys the very first bonus stock for today, and this would be this company called Sheng Siong. All right. So I do go to Sheng Siong quite often, right? On the weekend, go and do our grocery runs and all that. I think most of you probably will go to like Sheng Siong or NTUC and stuff, right? So I do go to Sheng Siong, right? I think prices are maybe a little bit cheaper, right? But essentially, this is the chart right now on Sheng Siong, $2.90. A team can just place the banner, right? So you can see that for now, $2.90. Sheng Siong has been in a very strong longer-term uptrend since last year. So we have been talking about this stock, I would say, since last year, May, June, July, all right? I mean, just look at the long-term trend, the rates and the blue line, all right? It's been very stable, up, right? So long-term trend up since last year, right? In fact, last year, very long, right? Since last year in a longer-term uptrend, right? And if I can quickly turn on the bullish and bearish signals, as I say, why did we cover this stock? Why were we even alerted to this stock, right? Well, because as I say, this tool that we have, the One Good Trend Pro indicator, turn it on. There we go. All right. We actually got not one, not two, but a couple of 1GT bullish signals, all right, coming out since last year. All right. Look at this. I mean, I'll not go too far, but you can see in April, pump, right? One more in October, faster, right? Over the past 1 month in January, same thing. We got not one, but we got two 1GT bullish signal, right? Of course, it's gone up a bit higher already lah, right? So as I say, you want to get these ideas a bit faster, link is right in the chat. Find out how you can get this idea by WhatsApp. I think like last week or something, we got sent out a note lah. Okay, to our clients. So it's gone up a little bit higher. But why did we cover this stock? Well, because not only just bullish signals coming out time and again, all right, but the trend indicators are all pointing up as well, right? If you look at the short-term trend, the green line, well, it was like up. And then somewhere in December, actually was a bit boring, right? It's like a bit sideways, a bit down, right? But boom, a bullish signal appeared. The green line also turned up as another confirmation. Is it still pointing up? Yeah, I think it's still pointing up, all right? And one thing I like is that finally, we have broken out of this key resistance level. That will be the $2.80 psychological resistance level, right? So you can see since like November, we neared it about 270, 280, and then we came down, right? Same thing last month in January, we neared it, come back down, go up, come back down. Every time you go to 280, around 280, sellers come back and they sell and then you go down again, right? But you don't go down all the way, just go down a bit only, right? And then we got bullish signals, the short-term trend still turning up, right? So that was a very key resistance whereby we were seeing strength, but we were still kept below that key resistance level. Does it make sense, all right? But you can see over the past 2 days, in fact, yesterday, right? We have broken this resistance level, a pretty good bullish candlestick, I would say, right? What we call a bullish Marubozu pattern, whereby it's open right at the day low and it goes right at the day high. Pretty green candlestick bar, right? So not too bad. As they attempted to break that 280, all right? So here's the thing, right? If we break 280 and then we come back down, then of course not so good, all right? But we break the 280, we stay above it. Right now it's what? Now it's 290, which is above, all right? That could be a sign of a next phase of upside momentum, right? That could be a sign of strength. It shows that sellers that have been gaining control over the past 3 months have given way, they have surrendered, they say, sorry, please carry on, all right? We could be on our next phase up. Does it make sense, all right? So what could be the target, all right? Joey, where then we can go up to where, then you can take some profit, that kind of thing, right? Well, let's find out, right? So you can see that what we could do is that we could do a little bit of a projection right over here, right? So you can see that we were pretty much consolidating over the past 3 months, agak-agak from here, right? I would say from like 250 to about 280. So if you take this and you project it upwards, well, near-term target could be somewhere, maybe around that $3.10, right? 3.10, or if you give a bit of allowance, maybe to that 3.20, right over here, right? So I think $3 maybe a bit of a temporary profit taking and come back, right? Which is normal, right? But if $3 were to give way, potentially to 3.10 to 3.20, right? That could be the next upside target. And that's where all these bullish signals since April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 can continue to play out. I mean, let's just take a look at the upside. I mean, the gains from the very first bullish signal in April, right? All the way to now is how much? 80%, right? 80% in about, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months. All right, so it's like, going to Sheng Siong and then you buy all the grocery a bit free, if you have wrote these gains, Does it make sense, Van? All right, Ken. So this Sheng Siong, the very first bonus stock I shared with you guys, all right, and as I say, we have covered it, we shared with our clients many times on WhatsApp. Find out how you can get some of these ideas on not just Sheng Siong, but other stocks as well, much faster by WhatsApp daily, and of course some of our private trainings just exclusively for clients as well. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Z to cover her top bonus stock for today. Z, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so my bonus stock that I would like to share with you guys today, right? If you guys have been attending our Ask Me Any Stock session for the Singapore market, probably you would have already seen this stocks many times, and it's one of the stocks that I think we thinks that this stock is actually still good, and I think it still deserves to be on your watch list. So let's dive right into ST Engineering. Okay, so for ST Engineering, I don't think I really have to dive too much into the trend now, because I really say, I think many times really when you guys have been joining us for the the Ask Me Any Stock session, right? And the bonus stock for ST Engineering, it has been the same, right? The uptrend for long-term, short-term, right? It's still looking great for ST Engineering, right? You can see all three moving averages are definitely still heading up. It's not heading down. right? I mean, of course, previously in October, the last quarter of 2025, that was when we started some weakness, right, returning in terms of the short-term trend. It started to move sideways, but at the start of the year, we can see that it started to regain momentum already, and the short-term trend is now aligning with the longer-term trend, and all three are actually heading up, right? And previously, if you guys still recall, right, we mentioned that for ST Engineering, the very crucial resistance level was actually the $9, right? And at that point in time, it was actually really testing that $9, unable to break above it, right? And we mentioned that once you break above it, and if it's able to hold above it, that's where we may start to see, you know, more legs for this particular upward movement, right? And that is exactly what we saw, right? The price, it managed to break above, right? And it continued to hold above it. And it went all the way up. Initially, it went all the way up to about $9.70. That was where we started to see a bit of selling pressure return, profit taking happening, right? Profit taking come back, and it pushed price back down slightly, right? I think from here to here, about 3 to 4%, right? But that is where you can start to see buyers, right, are willing to step in to buy at higher prices already. Why? Because $9 is a resistance turn to become a support, right? And typically, support is where we used to know that that is where buyers are coming in. But you notice that buyers are actually stepping in earlier, right? Not earlier, are stepping in at a higher prices, right? At around $9.30 right? That's where buyers step in already, not at the $9. You didn't wait for the price to go back to the $9 and then buyers step in. Buyers came in at about 9:30, which means that they are willing to buy at higher prices. And then we can start to see that, you know, the price continue to head up, right? And previously we did mention the $10 is a psychological resistance level where it's not surprising to actually see selling pressure return, right? And how did we get the $10 projection? If you guys still recall, right, it's based on the projection range. You remember the projection range whereby prices was actually trading within a range right over here. You actually project it upward, right? And that is based on the projection that potentially that is the next upside target, right? And plus the fact that it is a $10 psychological level, yeah, not surprising to see selling pressure actually return, which actually, in fact, it actually happened over the past few days, right? And today, what we are seeing is definitely there's some sort of pullback. But based on the candlestick right now, let me just zoom in so that you guys all can see and it's bigger. Okay, so based on the candlestick right now, I mean, it is still trading, right? It is the market is still trading. But what we are seeing is there is buying pressure returning based on what? Based on the long lower shadow that we are looking at right now. That means that selling pressure pushed the price back down, but during the trading first half of the day, because now market just resumed after lunch hour, right? During the first half of the day, buyers came in to push price back up, right? Even though selling pressure is present, not saying that selling pressure is not present, it is present because price actually opened lower than yesterday's, right? It is present, but buyers are there. Buyers are there to support the prices, right? So as you can see, these are the two levels, right? $9, I would say definitely is a very clear support level, right? $10 is a very clear resistance level. These are the two zones that you can take note of, right? As a buy zone and as a sell zone, right? Set some alerts over there. But of course, like what I mentioned, right? As we can see previously, right here in late of January, the buyers didn't wait until price go back all the way down to $9 for you to actually buy. I mean, I hope that, you know, price can go back all the way down $9 for you to buy, but market doesn't work that way, right? You want to buy at $9, it doesn't mean that you can buy at $9, right? So one thing that you can use is, you know, this trailing support and resistance function, which I've also mentioned earlier on, right? Because this trailing and support resistance, this trailing support, right, it's actually dynamic, right? It is not static. It is not the ones that we draw ourselves. It's dynamic as it moves along with prices. And you can see that price moves up. This trailing support also moves up, right? So potentially the other zones that you could look at, right, which is maybe slightly higher than the $9, right, but is still valid as a support zone, would be near the trading support right over here, right? This could be one of the other potential buy zone that you could look at, right? You could look at, but bear in mind that near the $10 potentially we may see selling pressure returning. All right, so that is something that you've got to take note of, and to do your position sizing, do your trading plan, and be aware of the risk reward ratio, okay? And if prices is actually able, you know, to move in this manner and break above the $10, then what is the next upside target that we are looking at, right? The next upside target, simple, right? Based on the projection that we did just now, up. So the next upside target that we are looking at will be towards the $11, right? It's about a $1 range if prices is actually able to break and hold above the $10 firmly lah. But I think it would be better lah. I mean, what I hope to actually see would actually be something like that, like a consolidation before it actually break above the $10 lah. So that then, like what I always say, like a broken record, right? The uptrend will then be more sustainable. Okay, so I hope that gives you guys like some levels to take note for ST Engineering, be it whether you are actually holding or you are thinking about entering a position. These are some of the levels that you can take note. And if you are holding on to a position, I want to reaffirm you guys that there's nothing wrong to actually take profits, right, near resistance zone. Especially if, let's say, for ST Engineering, doesn't have to be full, right? Don't have to be a full position. It could be half, it could be 1/3 near a resistance. Nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong. Okay, so that would be for ST Engineering. Definitely still looks great, still on our team's watch list, and we are still keeping a lookout for this. Just watch for a breakout, above the $10 level. But I think there is still some time, right, towards the earning. The earning, just take note that is at the end of this month, which is on 27th of February. Okay, so that will be for ST Engineering. And with that, I think I'll pass my time over to Jia Yi to cover his bonus stock for you guys.
All right, thank you, Z. So the last bonus stock that we're covering on will be this counter. Believe everyone who actually has been joining us for the past few AMAs, I've been covering the same counter because this counter has been still uptrending, still very strong. So it's on City Debt. So I mean, I don't think I have to cover in terms of the strength wise. If you just look at it, you can clearly see that the 100 days, 200 days, and 20 days are still pointing up. And since last year, April has been showing 1 GT bullish signal, not one, but actually 6 so far. So if you just look at a projection wise, from then till now, it's actually already up 110%. So I think the things to take note of is this currently. Previously, when we talk about it, I believe it was around at $9 to $9.50, and there was some resistance near that $9.50. And recently, just actually yesterday and today, it broke above that $9.50 and is currently staying above this $9.50 temporary support. So if you just look at it wise, I would say currently the support is around at $9.50 and the resistance is near that $10 psychological resistance level. So if prices are able to stay above this $9.50, the next target towards the $10, or if it's able to break, we wouldn't rule out there could be more upside towards the $10.50 or even that $11 psychological resistance level. So if you just look at the trend wise, it's still uptrending, no 1 GT bearish signal yet. And if you were to turn on the trailing support, you can actually see that the trailing support now is actually near that $9 support level as well. So if prices come back down, break below that $9.50 temp support, you might see that prices might come back to the 9 support level, which it might be a good area to enter. This area might be a good zone to enter since it's near the support and also near the trailing support as well. Or if you are more aggressive, if prices break above this $10 psychological resistance level, turning to new support, this area might be another target or another zone that you can consider to enter for the upside towards that $10.50 or $11. So I would say currently, this counter is still on our watch list, still very strong, and nothing wrong to continue to monitor this counter. And if you are if you already have some position in this counter, maybe near the $10, you might want to just secure some profit when just in case you might come back down to another support of $9, then that's where you can re-enter again. So for now, I would say this counter is still on our watch list and you still can monitor, and it's one of the bonus stock that I've covered for the past few times. So it's still showing very good strength, and I believe you can closely monitor this counter as well. And I think just a thing to take note, the earnings is actually end of this month. So just for something for you guys to think of as well. Yeah, if not, I'll pass on my time back to Joey.
All right, okay, thank you so much, Jia Yi. So there we have it, guys. Right, we have shared a total of 3 bonus stocks, right? 3 bonus stocks, and just do a quick recap. The first bonus stock I shared was Sheng Siong. All right, Z covered on ST Engineering, and Jia Yi just covered on this company called City Development. All right, so these are 3 bonus stocks. You want to put in your watch list, right? Put your watch list for potentially more upside. Take note of some of the levels that we have mentioned as well. All right, and of course, we may even cover this stock in the future AMAS, or maybe for those of you who are clients, as I say, right, you could be even seeing some of these ideas, right, on the WhatsApp over the next few days or next few weeks if they still look good, right? If they still look good, like what we've been sharing over the past few months, even since last year for, I think, these 3 bonus stocks. If I'm not wrong, these 3 bonus stocks, Jia Yi and Z, did we actually share with our clients like since last year? Should have, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jia Yi, your City Dev have or not?
Have, definitely.
Right, yeah. So I think these are some of the stocks that we share, right? So, of course, there could still be potentially more upside as well. All right, so there we have it. I think we have pretty much come to the end of today's session. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Really good to see a lot of you, staying all the way to the end. All right, I mean, it's almost like more than like 2 hours, but a lot of you are still joining us, staying here. Thank you. Really appreciate your time. All right, I want to acknowledge all of you for just showing up, joining us live every Friday. I hope you got value. I hope that we've covered your your Singapore stock as well. If we cannot cover all of it, my apologies again. All right, we hope to cover it the next time round, about 2 weeks' time, when we do our AMAS Singapore edition. So next Friday, we'll be back to the US market, right? So thank you, Big V, Big Value. Thank you so much as well. All right, we have Geneva Low. All right, awesome. Pinky, great sharing as well. Jen, I think Jen, I covered your stock, right? Awesome, right? Ellen, thank you. All right, great that all of you got value, right? So there's a final shout out, right? If you want to get some of those ideas on a daily basis by WhatsApp, link is right in the chat. I think this place, the link in the chat is probably hidden somewhere at the top already. All right, so how you can get our ideas for free WhatsApp daily? You do not pay anything more. All right, find out how you can become a client of ours in Phillip Securities. Thank you so much, Andy. Very fruitful session. Value. Jia Yi, Z, anything to add before we end today's session? Any words of wisdom to share? Yeah.
Next week, you will be seeing us again because Bervin is actually on a short holiday. But don't worry, next week will be Joey, me, and Jia Yi, and we will be covering the US market. Yeah.
For whoever is interested in the US market, just feel free to join us next week and we can cover your stocks that you request for.
Yep. So that's it, guys. Have a good weekend. All right, we'll see you guys next Friday on our AMAS Ask Me Any Stock session. For now, bye. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.